This podcast on the Talking Smack Network is brought to you by GNS Printing, providing solutions, not just printing. Give Tim Cooper a call today for all of your printed products. GNS Printing, here to help, offering the most customized, friendly, and reliable service with competitive pricing that you will find anywhere at 518-232-2465.
Warning. The following program is a collective of characters talking about the happenings in the sports and entertainment world. It's meant to be fun in a comedic, informative way. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their bosses, maybe even you. There may be some cuss words because that's how people talk in the real world. We'll try to keep the locker room talk to a minimum, but if you're young, please seek permission before watching any further.
And we're back. I see Jackie Hudson and Kenny and Bove are both. Are they good?
We're good.
All right, just want to make sure because there we go. All right, we're here. It is week 28 and a half of Talkin' Smack. We are live at the Cool Insuring Arena for Glens Falls Brewfest. It's a big fundraiser that they do. It's the biggest one of the year for the Feeder Canal Alliance. And for folks that don't know, it's the canal that goes right in back of the Cool Insuring Arena. It goes all the way down to the beginning at the Hudson up by Haviland's Cove, and it goes all the way over to the Champlain Canal over in Hudson Falls. So today on the show, we got guests galore. Maybe we don't. Well, the bottom line is I got my boys here with me. Joining me here right to my immediate left, some people know him as Jackie Tots. Some know him as the coach. Some call him Maurice. He's a South Glens Falls. He's a Bulldog Hall of Famer. That's right.
Yes.
Hall of Fame. And he's also in the Moreau Little League Hall of Fame as well, too.
Girls softball.
Girls softball Hall of
But
Fame.
you can put Little League, too, if you want.
Whatever it is. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to welcome to the show Jackie Tots. Jackson.
Hey.
What's
What's happening?
brother?
No,
How you
everything
doing,
good,
man?
guys. Everything good, man.
Little League this morning?
Little softball, a little baseball this morning.
Same here.
That's it. Yeah, you too.
Yeah, we did too.
But looks like a good time over here tonight. A lot of people here.
Yeah.
Good time.
This event goes right up until 7 o'clock. Also joining us here today, a guy that, how long we've been working now together?
It could be 37 years in November.
37 years. If I known what I know now, I could have killed him then. I would have been out my good behavior about 37 years ago.
Now, what you should have said, you're blind, you're not getting the job.
I did say that. That is an HR violation as I know it now.
Now it is. Back then it wasn't. It was the 80s. You can get away with anything in the 80s.
And the artist formerly known as Crazy Ken Lachese, Kenny Lachese from 98.5
Thank you.
CKM.
I'm not the EPUB today.
The what?
The EPUB.
No, you're not. You're not the EPUB. He's a regular guest because, when I was thinking, we were putting the show together, and I was thinking Brewfest, who do we know that knows about brewing? Because I'll be honest with you, I know nothing. Jackie?
Yeah. I know nothing, but I knew Kenny was
Kenny's the man.
the man.
Kenny is the man when it comes to that. And today is what today is today?
Today was what it is that
What's the name of it? That's all I need.
okay, it was called Big Brew Day.
Big Brew Day.
Yes, because what it is that on Tuesday, on May 7th, is National Home Brewers Day.
Okay.
So what we do is that on the first Saturday of May, we have what we call the Big Brew Day, in parentheses, and we brew. And
we have the Big Brew Day.
And before I came down, I was brewing.
Hey, all right, so there we go. We got our Brewmaster Flash here with us today. I'm talking about Ken Lachese joining us here on the show. And also joining us as always, right-hand man. How long we been working together now, Johnny?
Since 95, so about 30 years.
30 years. And if I knew then what I... No, never mind.
HR would have said something then, too.
Yeah, they certainly would. We'd like to welcome to the show Johnny Pratt here.
Hey,
Johnny, you're enjoying. What do you got there?
yeah, this is from the Wolf Brewery over there. It's really, really good. This is a Pilsner.
A Pilsner.
I've already had a Pilsner and a red.
Okay.
The red was really good. This Pilsner is really good. I really should take a pen and paper with me and write down the names.
Why?
Well, Well, so I could,
Yeah. Well, so you can remember from there to here?
Dude, you're lucky I remember your name sometimes. Seriously. We've been working together for 30 years.
Yeah, I know. Trust me.
You want me to remember?
There was those 2 lost years. Remember those?
Actually, it's more like 3. But
Yeah, it was 3, 2, 3, whatever. Things happen, It just happens. And joining us also, Mr. Producer. How long have we been working together?
Since I was 14 or 13.
So 12 years?
12 years.
Wow. 12 years.
I'm now 25.
We'd like to welcome the Shadow, Seth Cooper, to the show. Shad, what's going on, bro?
It's pretty cool actually being here on the arena floor.
This is different, isn't it?
And it's weird being so close to the Thunder bench as well. Usually your site is, of course, across the way in the press box. So it does feel a little bit weird. But, of course, we got some big news to get to that happened, of course, in this that revolves around this very building that happened yesterday.
Well, you got a graphic for me, brother?
I certainly do. Hang on one sec.
We've got, by the way, in the background, you're going to probably hear Dirt Cheap over there a little bit as well, too. So we're getting to the graphic here. But big news yesterday coming out of the world of the Thunder. Pete MacArthur yesterday resigned as the head coach for the Adirondack Thunder. And there are a lot of people that will say it was because of the terrible season. And I don't think it's that at all. I really do believe, because for guys like us, we know Pete personally. Pete's a wicked family man. When you have little ones at home and you're on the road for, like this year, the month of February, you're gone.
Yeah, they were gone.
And you're gone for the month of February.
There's 1 week at home in those 28 days.
You lose that time with your kids, you lose it. It doesn't. You can't find it back. It's not coming back. So I know that there's, that had probably the biggest effect about him, resigning from it and knowing and giving the team some time, because he could have waited longer to step back and say, okay, well, I'll wait till June or I'll wait till July. By doing this, I think he does the Thunder a huge favor and going and handing in his resignation. I know, Seth, you've talked to Pete, and so have I in the last day as well, too.
And it's one of those things where, he thanked us, obviously, for everything that we have done for the organization, the two of us personally. But you got to remember, Pete MacArthur also, along with his wife, they had a baby in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where MacArthur spent a few days with Ozzy, but then they were right back in the thick of it, because their season was still, there was still a chance that they could have made it to the dance.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where, it's interesting, because with Pete MacArthur, when he came on board, it was one of those things where the previous head coach already was recruiting for next season, and then the announcement was made. And then he came in, and you really can't say, other than last year, that he had a bad year with the Thunder. I mean, his first season, he got them to the dance from January to April. And then the previous season, 2 wins away from making it to the Kelly Cup final, which I still stand by the way that if we get past Florida, we win the Kelly Cup against Kansas City.
No doubt.
Yep. And then you go to this year, and we've been saying it, since October, that really their trip to Perth really destroyed the organization.
And that's, Johnny, we've talked about it.
To where?
To Europe.
To Europe.
Oh, yeah.
To Europe.
Yeah.
When they went to, was it Prague?
Yeah, Prague.
When they went to Prague, the whole organization paid for that.
Yep.
So what happens is you've got the team playing regular season games in Prague. You've got the New Jersey Devils. I didn't realize I had cookie crumbs all over my gut. You have the Jersey Devils having to play a preseason schedule as an NHL team. You have the Utica Comets that have to play preseason games. And in the meanwhile, the Adirondack Thunder have to try to do something to have some semblance of an organization here as well, too. So by having that, and then the injuries, John, coming as soon as they did when they were in Prague, that put the organization behind the 8 ball, and it really put the screws system-wide, all the way from New Jersey to Adirondack, system-wide, going to Prague, really kicked off the season on the bad foot.
It really did. And kind of, Utica and us really never kind of recovered from that. I mean, if you think about it, this was a season that for the first, I would say 3-4 weeks of the season, things were looking okay.
Yeah, but they weren't playing.
Right, but that's probably why they were looking okay. But then once the season really got going and the injuries piled up, and then we realized what we lost from to Europe. It had nothing to do with Prague. All the people we lost going overseas, and then with Utica having the season that they had this year, that gave us absolutely no help this year.
Well, and go back to the beginning of the season in Utica.
It does. Right. It starts all from the preseason.
Well, I will say it goes beyond the preseason as well. Because, you take a look at what happened over the summer, and you have guys like Colin Felix, like Eric Mittendorf, that left the organization. And, you can say that that's on Pete MacArthur. That's not. Those were Utica contracted guys that went and found better opportunities. And unfortunately, that fell on the New Jersey brass with Dan McKinnon. Now, don't get me wrong. Dan McKinnon, in his right mind, has the wherewithal to try and get to the NHL level. But he was more focused on trying to get that general manager job with the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, he was.
And it really left Utica in a weird thing. And also, it's important to note as well that it didn't help that New Jersey and Utica had to punt their season in November when they let go of head coach Kevin Dineen. They brought in Ryan Perrant, who is a developmental coach.
Happy birthday!
And they had to figure that as well because of the fact of they knew that their season was going to end. So it's one of those things where you take a look at it and go, what do you do in this situation? And it was best for Utica last year to have the development that year that they did. And now New Jersey, maybe they have a little bit more say in who they bring in behind the bench here at the Cool Insuring Arena.
I think that's going to have to happen. I mean, let's be honest. Let's call it like it is. What you need, and Jack and Ken, you both know this, both being big time in sports, you got to have support and you got to have communication. And the communication's got to go from the top all the way from New Jersey, all the way right here at the CIA.
Yep.
You need to have that. Without that, Jack, without the communication, I mean, you're going to be screwed.
Absolutely. Like you guys just said a little while ago, this thing started right out from the get-go.
Yeah.
And it affected everybody. And as we saw this year, it ended up kind of not great for any of it. I mean, the Devils did okay this year, I guess.
They got to the playoffs.
But that's about it. I mean, what were they, 4-1 in that series?
Yeah. So, but it's tough. I mean, Kenny, you've worked in pro sports. When those things aren't clicking from top to bottom, you really are putting yourself behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, you are. And you look at what happened with the sad thing about the Thunder is they got off to such a great start.
You know what?
And then the injuries hit.
I think that's a misnomer. I don't believe they got off to a great start. What it was is that they had so very few games.
Right, yeah.
And you're playing against teams when you're right out of the gate. All right? Out of the gate is not you don't win the championship in October.
No.
You don't win it. And the thing was, you have teams that are playing 3-4 games a week, and the Thunder were playing 1.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of, smoke and mirrors type of things going, and it was, we're going to do all right. Well, if you were looking at what was out there, it was Pete MacArthur didn't have a lot to work with this year. And that was right off the gate, right off the bat there.
And it's part of the thing of being in the ECHL. Zach Walker, we've had him on the show.
The ever-changing hockey league.
It is the ever-changing hockey league. And you look at what the Thunder did lose in that last season. They lost number 11, Shane Harper, and you knew that he wasn't coming back. And you knew that they weren't going to have the veteran presence they had last season. You didn't have your Patrick Grasso. You didn't have your Yushiro Haranos. They went into Europe.
You didn't have Colin Felix.
Correct.
Right.
And you weren't going to have McKinnon back. He wasn't going to be back here patrolling the blue line for any amount of time. And you look at everything that they lost. I think when you add all that up, and then when you have the injuries come out like they did, the injuries that affected New Jersey, there wasn't a trickle-down effect. It was a hammer right away because guys that were slated to be here in Glens Falls.
Yeah, exactly. They never got here.
They were just not going to be here. And because Dan McKinnon really, I'm going to say this, I'm not saying, to me, it appeared that he didn't get the job done because he was looking for another job. I get that. Because if you're not trying to get to the next level when you're working in a situation like that, if you're not trying to get to the next level, then you're going to stagnate and you're just there to collect a paycheck.
Right.
McKinnon was looking to move to the next level, and because he was looking to do that, his eyes got off the prize.
Well, you see, but the good thing is now, like Seth was just saying, he doesn't it doesn't appear that he's going to be looking for an NHL job or anything like that. And with New Jersey having a little bit more of a say in what's going to go on here, like Kenny was starting to say, you guys are talking about communication. If there is an open line of communication from head coach to head coach to head coach, and they have a good relationship, that can be just the greatest thing for the organization, because they'll have a little bit more communication and a better relationship. I can remember even with Cale McLean, one of our first head coach, he had a decent relationship with the next level and was able to talk to the coach and be like, hey, you know what, our defense is a little suspect. Any chance we can get some help or anything like that? But if the coach isn't, jiving with the layers above him, he's not going to be able to call up to Utica and be like, hey, I know you guys so-and-so is sitting in the stands. Can you send him down? Or if he does do that, they're going to be like, no. But if Jersey has a say in it, it's just going to make the relationship stronger. And at this point in time, I mean, let's face it, I know a lot of people are – I don't mind the relationship with New Jersey. I'm good with it. I know a lot of people are like, hey, what about this team? They've been here for a long time, and for the most part have done really well by us. So strengthening the relationship, even on the coaching staff from top to bottom, is a good thing.
And it's – sorry to cut you off there, but it's interesting to see, too, because, you had New Jersey, who had a very successful year. Now, did Tom Fitzgerald do anything at the trade deadline to try and get New Jersey past the first round? No, he didn't. At the trade deadline, they
Why
failed.
would you want to mortgage the future, though? I mean, seriously, because unless you think you have a Stanley Cup team, Kenny, if you don't think you have a Stanley Cup team, why go and trade crap away and just move things out of the way? I mean, to me, that doesn't make any sense. If he didn't move because he knew what their lot was going to be. It's a matter of growing in a year of experience, right?
Right, and I think that also we've seen in the past that a GM will mortgage the future. We know this because of Neil Smith.
Yep.
Neil Smith said he gave away too much to Edmonton and other teams to try to win another Stanley Cup. He won the one, and he says, I gave up way too much talent that went to prosper otherwise, and you can't do that. And I don't think that, and I'll be honest with you, I don't think the Devils were in that situation either. They didn't have enough. And the same thing with Detroit. You have the option of either giving up a lot of minor leaguers or you give up draft stock. And guess what? When you give up draft stock, no matter how good or bad you are, you're not going to be able to refill places.
So when the trade deadline comes, okay, so you just go back to the trade deadline. So trade deadline comes, you know that Adirondack's not making the playoffs. So there's no sense in loading up Adirondack. I mean, it's just not going to happen. Utica is not going to make the playoffs. Utica started out 0-11.
Yeah,
so
like that.
You start off like that. You know that Utica's not going to make the playoffs. You know that you're going to make the playoffs most likely is New Jersey. But you also know that in order to take that next step to go from a team that's getting in at a 7 or 8 or even a 6, that you don't have enough horses to get you up above. It's to waste the capital between draft picks and trading. Why do it? Because you're still building. And to me, I give credit to Fitzgerald for not doing that, because you're building something, and to go and give it away makes absolutely no sense.
Well, I will say that it's tough because you had New Jersey, who could have been buyers at the deadline. You had Utica, who was going to sell at the deadline. And then you had the Thunder. And you knew that it was a weird season for the Utica Comets when you had Dan McKinnon trade his own son to Cleveland.
Can you imagine trading one of your daughters from your softball team?
No.
I mean, think about it. Your daughters, but still, when you think about that and what that's got to be like.
Yeah.
But you have to do the business. I mean, and that's what it is. But
I just want to know what Dan McKinnon's wife said to him when he told her, he goes, so what'd you get for him? A bag of pucks in a jersey.
I was going to say, it was future consideration, so we don't even know what they got for us.
To me, I think he did his son a favor.
Yeah.
Because, anybody that's ever worked with family, as you well know, when you work with family, dynamics are different.
Yep.
And can you actually ever be totally truthful with somebody when you have them working for you? I mean, that to me, I give Dan McKinnon credit because that could not have been easy. So talking about what happened with Mac, I just, in my conversation with Pete, and we went back and forth online, and the thing about this is we are here on the arena floor, Cool Insuring Arena, formerly the Glens Falls Civic Center. Pete's a kid from Clifton Park. Yeah. Pete grew up in this arena as a kid from Clifton Park playing, hockey here. You would tell him when he was 7, 8, 9 years old. You know something, one day, Mac? You're going to go and you're going to become a legend playing inside the Glens Falls Civic Center, now the Cool Insuring Arena. You're going to go, Mac, and you're going to take your team within 2 wins for playing for the ECHL Kelly Cup Championship. And as I said to Mac about this, and I know there will be a lot of people that will go say, oh, well, he lived a dream that as hockey fans, as sports fans, he lived a dream that we can only think of. To be able to do that, to play in front of your hometown, to be able to play in front of your parents night in and night out, to coach in front of your parents, which I will say this, Pete's parents are awesome, great people. And for some of the things that were being said about Pete, and his parents heard it, it's absolutely heartbreaking. You know, the guy went out there and did what he could. He tried the best he could with the horses that he had. And this year, it wasn't in the cards. But I said this on the On Center Ice show. I'm voting for the Adirondack Hockey Hall of Fame. Pete MacArthur's there. I don't care.
God, yeah.
To me, local kid does well.
Oh, yeah.
Local kid comes back and stars for our team. Local kid comes back and coaches our team to within 2 wins of a Kelly Cup championship.
Yeah, no,
To
that's
me,
a no-brainer. Absolutely.
I really, I think once calmer heads prevail among the fan base and everything, and you have a chance to sit back and look at it, I really believe it myself personally that they're just going to look back and they're going to say, you know what?
Well, I mean,
We had a good thing.
Yeah, I was going to say, even without looking back rose-colored glasses, I mean, this season notwithstanding, he got us to the playoffs twice. That first season we got to the playoffs with Mac was one of the most exciting things, going at the time. I mean, we did have a lot of great memories. And then, of course, you need to talk about the contributions on the ice. I mean, we just had the stats up. He's in the top 5 in goals, assists, points, all of that. What he's done on the ice for the Thunder alone should be enough for him to be an Adirondack Hockey Hall of Famer. You put the coaching in there, and it literally becomes, it's not a question of if, it's just a question of when you guys decide to pull that trigger.
Yeah, it's one of those things that he lived a dream that we all got to be on the ride for. And the truth is that we're at a point, with guys like Mac playing here for 4 years?
Yeah.
4 years. You're not going to see many guys in a Thunder uniform for that long. It's not the nature of the league to have those kind of guys. I mean, are they on each team? Yes. But the general way that the league runs, you're not going to see that. And guys that stay, and the fact that he was able to come back and play for his hometown team and do it at a time they needed. If you go back and when he was playing, you remember the All-Star game. Team was floundering at that point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Team was floundering. Out there, it's the rest of the league versus the Adirondack Thunder. He's here playing for the Thunder. He goes out there, single-handedly wins a competition for the Adirondack Thunder. Thunder make a mad comeback during that All-Star game, and at that point, the whole season changed because of one man's efforts. And I will say that, I'm a hockey historian. Because of one man's efforts during what would otherwise be a meaningless All-Star game, what he did that day, hey, John, I think that there, when you think about the grand scheme of things and how everything worked for Mac, I hope that people go back and look at it and say, you know what? That's what it is.
Yeah. I agree wholeheartedly.
I think after people reflect on stuff like that, I think they realize, wow, we had a good thing there.
Yeah.
Sometimes people get caught up in the moment of a losing season. Like you just said a little while ago, this wasn't on him. It was this way from the get-go.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think he did a great job, and I say best of luck to him.
Yeah.
And
him and Christina are great people.
Absolutely.
And plus, too, Christina just started her own baking business. And Pete MacArthur knows that he's welcome back in this arena at any time, and he knows that. And to your point there, John, 53 goals, 122 assists, 175 points in 202 games. Those are all top 5 in Thunder franchise history. The following season, he led the Thunder to their best season in franchise history, going 43, 18, 7, and 4.
When I read the release from the Thunder office, and the thing that caught me, and I know he's a personal friend of mine, but the class of Jeff Mead.
Yeah.
Jeff Mead going and saying, he's one of my best friends. We talk on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have that kind of relationship with someone, it's not easy for anybody. So there's nobody in this building that is taking this lightly.
No.
It's going to take some time to swallow. But the Thunder organization and the Hockey Coalition, in conjunction with both Utica and New Jersey, they've got their work cut out for them.
Oh, yeah.
And that being said, I've got some relationships that, in this building that go back 30 plus years, back to 1985.
I was going to say, are you throwing your hat in the coaching?
No, I have coached professionally right off of that bench in back of me, one game. But I'm not in the running. But just in talking with the people that I have talked to in the last 24 hours, the interest in this job, this is a desirable place to coach.
Sure.
You got a fan base that's rabid. These people bleed Thunder. They just do. And there's something about playing in this building that still lights up a player. It still lights up a coach. This is a very desirable position to be in.
And I will say as well, I mean, it's an interesting thing where, okay, you had the previous reign when Pete MacArthur took over for Alex Lowe. Protected lists, they were already out. There were already signings available.
Donnie Long.
There were already, signings out there for someone to come to the Thunder. It's not like where, you have a new coach coming in and he can make his own protected list. He can protect the guys that he wants. He can sign the people he wants.
Well, and we need to get a coach there first. But back to Danny's point there, much like we say for players, it's a recruitment for the players too. I mean, this is a desirable place to play. The community is great. You get a lot of eyes on you. There's a ton of hockey organizations, AHL, NHL teams that have eyes on you. And it's the same thing when we're trying to recruit players. You're trying to recruit coaching staff and all that. So I can't imagine also, I mean, I bring up, I believe it was Brad Tapper there was like, what was there? There's 90 some odd head coaching opportunities in the three big leagues, from top to bottom. And, it kind of like the general manager thing, you're always trying to move up. And this is one of the jobs, and this is one of the better jobs. I mean, you look back to just this season, we had the down season on the ice. But attendance-wise, what was the stat we filled up?
All right, so go ahead, Kenny. Kenny
got the math. Okay, that's right. I forgot it was you.
So go ahead and math us, Kenny.
Well, I looked at the end of the season. I'm always interested in the attendance figures from around the league. We were in the middle of the pack attendance-wise, but here's the thing that caught my attention, and that is you compare your attendance to capacity of the building. This year, the Adirondack Thunder averaged over 4,500 people. We were at 95% capacity for the season.
That is crazy.
Yeah,
I mean,
think about
seriously.
that.
Yeah, it is.
And that was the best in the division. And overall, in the Northern Division, we were second in attendance because the last day of the year, we're in Maine, and Maine puts up 6,200. And we're thinking, is Maine going to pass us? We beat Maine up, I think, was it 13 or 14, I think I told you?
Yeah, it was
and
really,
Norfolk,
really close.
who I thought was dead in the waters, who have a 12,000-seat building, which I think probably a lot of the upper deck is cordoned off.
Yeah.
And the same thing in Worcester with the DCU Centrum. That Norfolk averaged a little over 6,000, but that was like they were at 60 to 50% capacity of their building. When you look at a small market like Glens Falls, which is the smallest market in the league, we all know this
by far,
and they come about and bring in 95% capacity of the building because it's just under 40. Ever since they did the redo of the seating, it went from 4,800 to what, 4,794 or something like that?
Yep.
So 95% capacity of the building. You think, and we'll bring about this, Peter, in his years of coaching. What a local guy did, getting this team to build it up into a winner, and after what they did, and you're seeing a building that everybody said, oh, this is not going to last. Well, here they are in their 10 years in and averaging 95% capacity in the building. That goes back to that team we used to love, beloved for years.
You have to go back into the 80s part of that.
Right.
Yeah, you have to say you got to go back to the glory days
You have to go back
of
into
it.
the 80s because,
around the time when they won the third
Jack,
Calder Cup.
You're older than us.
Yes, I am.
And you and
Thanks for mentioning that,
you're
Dan.
welcome. I'm here.
Yes.
I love this chair,
You
by
know,
the way.
Funny you said going back
Yeah,
to the
must be
80s.
nice.
You hear a lot of people say this reminds me back of the Red Wing days. I'm going to tell you, people, we passed them.
I agree.
We passed that. I mean, we had good crowds here. I remember being here, those Calder Cubs, the place was rocking. But the atmosphere, this is an event now here.
Every game is an event.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Game.
I mean, to come out here and have a standing room only when you're how many points out eliminated at the end of the year?
Yeah.
It says a lot right there.
And multiple standing room only.
Multiple, yeah.
16.
Yeah.
16
That's
sellouts.
amazing.
And how many were at the end of the season when we knew we were playing for nothing other than, you know what, the Thunder are playing, we're going to go.
And I will say that, even Shaw Boomhauer, and when we had our Thunder episode a couple weeks ago, when you had Darian Skio, you had the appearance from Jeremy Brodeur. I mean, they were going out and giving their effort every single night. It's not like that.
Nobody
team,
mailed it in.
No,
I'll tell you what, and it's. I've seen it before with teams that were out of it, that they mail it in. Yep. And Kenny, you've been following hockey. Your parents were season ticket holders for the New York Rangers, and there were years that the Rangers had absolutely nothing, and they were done and out by the time it got to February, and literally mail it in. This team didn't do it.
No.
It's just, to me, there was something about that. These guys took pride still.
Yeah, they did.
And I mean, let's be honest. You're running. Sometimes you got a thoroughbred, and sometimes you got a knack, and sometimes you don't have the horses to compete with the big horses, and that's what it was this year. It just because getting put behind the 8 ball. That's where we were right from the get go.
I gave a lot of credit to this year was Brodeur. I mean, that guy was like a yo-yo, up and down, up and down. When he came down here, he gave 110%. He wasn't like some.
We've all seen people that when they get assigned back to the ECHL, they go in that mode of mourning and poor me, woe is me. I don't belong in Glens Falls. I don't want to be. Listen, I know guys, and there's guys that I'll never respect that played here because that was their attitude. I mean, there were years the Phantoms that they were all like that. And the guys didn't believe they belonged to Glens Falls. They thought they should be in Philadelphia, and they played that way. And that was a Phantoms thing for the most part. There were a few guys that weren't that way, but there were a lot of those. But that's one thing that you could say, that when these guys came out on the ice, whatever team that Mac threw out onto the ice, they were out there giving everything that they had time and time again. And that's you got to, one is pros. 2 is coaching staffs to be able to get those guys to get out there and be part of it. But with that, all that being said, how do you guys feel about going into next year now? Kenny, I know you listen to all the games, so give me your 2 cents. I want to hear you.
I want to see what the Devils do draft-wise. Are they going to go young, bring in junior kids, or are they going to go the college route and go that way?
Do you really think that the draft and the juniors are going to have an effect on what happens here in Glens Falls?
I got to see who's going to be coaching, too. I think that's the biggest thing. Who are we bringing in to coach? Are we going to bring somebody who the Devils know, or is it going to be someone out of the blue that we've never heard of? And
or somebody that's familiar with the Adirondack.
Right. That's going to be interesting to see. Where does Mike Bergen fit in this, too?
We've been
told. Will he be given an opportunity to interview for the job?
They said it in the press release that Bergs will be given an opportunity to interview for the job. It's just, because
that's how MacArthur got it. Pete, they were interviewing people, and Pete just blew everybody away.
Yeah. If you talk to anybody in the coalition, he came in and just absolutely gunned that thing. I mean, it's just one of those things. Johnny, how you feeling about next year?
I'm optimistic. I mean, new blood is never a bad thing, especially at this level. I mean, I know New Jersey's going to and Utica going to have some influence on who we bring in, but at this level of hockey, especially when you're talking about more veteran players, much like in any industry, it's all about who you know, what connections you have. So if you've got a coach that you're bringing in that has been around and has a couple of maybe have played for him in the past or something like that, it brings in just some new blood, so to speak. That can be a good thing, you know what I mean? Because you get 1 or 2, veteran players that are able to come in, and it can really, I mean, you were just saying, I mean, with Pete MacArthur, the year of the All-Star game, one veteran player really kind of turned things around, and imagine, think about it, the year Coach Tapper was here. We talked about this off the air before. Imagine having a guy like Pete MacArthur that year Tapper was here. I mean, we went to the Eastern Conference Finals that year. If we had a veteran presence like Mac at that point, so having a new coach like that, if he's got some new connections and everything, I think it's a good thing. And a fresh start is never a bad thing, because let's be honest, it's the ever-changing hockey league, Kozak Walker. It changes every single year anyways, so it's no different than new guys coming in having to learn coach's system. It's all going to be new. Now it's going to be new guys with a new coach's system. It's still all going to be new. So it matters who they bring in as a coach and then who he can bring in to recruitment-wise to kind of fill out what he doesn't get from New Jersey and Utica.
Jack, your viewpoint I really want to hear, because unlike the rest of us who all have skin, and you're a season ticket holder, I mean, Johnny is as well, but we all work around the team as well. So how do you feel about going into next season?
You know, my attitude is here, and it's funny when you talk to people, because everybody, we get caught up, we all want to win.
Yep.
Okay? But we got to think about what the big picture is here, too. I mean, if somebody gets called up here, they're getting called up because they deserve to go up. They're trying to improve their career. This is what they played since they were 5-6 years old. I'm like, okay, you're there?
Yeah, you're okay.
Okay. I like to see guys go. I don't like to see guys going up back and forth, like it was this year as much. But you know what? It's a minor league team. We're here to support them no matter what happens. I don't like seeing people boo and getting upset with coach and all that, because that's just what the nature is of the sport today. But I'd like to see, no matter what, the fans are going to come out. Coach, I think that's going to be important on who they bring in also. But you know what? No matter what happens, this community is going to support whoever's here. And you know what? When a guy goes up to Utica and from there, I mean, look at the goalies that are in the NHL that played here.
Yeah,
I just had a witness, Logan Thompson. It's like, really?
Oh my God! Tell me about it.
But you want to see guys do good and move on. And yeah, we want to win, but if not, you know what? We got to move on.
Yeah, as you well know, because when you come to the game, it's very rare that you come by yourself. You usually come with
I got a few with
about
me, yeah.
10 or 12 people with
Yeah.
you. So
Yeah.
when you have 10, 12 people that are coming with you,
Yeah.
I mean, you know what it's like. I mean, it's a night out for the family, brother.
It is a night out, and the wallet takes a beating too.
Seth,
But-
I got to ask you, how do you feel about going into next year?
So I will say this. It is interesting because the last few head coaches that the Adirondack Thunder have brought in obviously have been through the coalition. And I feel like this now is going to be more of an influence with the New Jersey Devils, something that we really haven't seen from the Devils organization. They've already started signing draft picks already for next season to AHL entry deals. One that really comes to mind is they were able to lock up Shane Lalonche to a 2-year AHL entry-level deal. He played with Boston University. Of course, he was spectacular. Then they locked up Jacob Malik. Now, Jacob Malik right now plays in the Liga League in Finland. He was a 4th-round, 100th overall draft pick by the New Jersey Devils. He'll be one of the goalies that are going to be either in Utica or with the Thunder next year. You have Isaac Poulter, whose NHL deal kicked in, and he's going to be probably with the New Jersey Devils next year.
Yeah.
You have RFAs like Nico Dawes, and then you have a situation where Jacob Markstrom, yes, he was acquired from Calgary last year, but he's in his final year of his deal. So it'll be an interesting situation to see if New Jersey is in the mix here and who they decide to bring in. And, let's not forget, we had a guy like Scott Clemenson who was here helping out the goaltending situation. And you talk to a guy, and it's one of those things where in the ECHL, there's really not a lot of goalie coaches that are hands-on. And the Devils in the last few years have been hands-on with drafting goalies. I mean, you look at Tyler Brennan, you look at Isaac Poulter, you look at Jacob Malik, for example, those three in the last 3 years. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And if New Jersey, Tom Fitzgerald, Dan McKinnon, and so on say, okay, do we have the Thunder hire somebody with a coalition, or do we step in and say, okay, this is the direction that we want?
I don't think it's going to be a matter of one or the other. I think it's going to be more of a thing where the coalition says, okay, here are our top 3 candidates, and New Jersey's probably going to say, okay, or New Jersey's going to say, hey, here's a list of guys that we would like you to interview at the very least.
Yeah.
I don't think New Jersey is going to say, no, you have to hire this guy.
I agree with John on that
Because
one.
that
won't
can't
work.
happen.
No.
That can't happen.
It won't work.
Because at this level, especially at the ECHL, there still has to be a local presence on the coach. He still has to have some sort of tie to the community. Because again, at the ECHL level, it's not about just development. It's about winning hockey games.
Well, it depends. It also depends on who the organization is. For example, if you have
no. Okay, for the Adirondack Thunder and the coalition
There you go.
who
Yes.
own the Adirondack Thunder,
Sure.
it is not in their. It's not. It doesn't behoove them at all to get just a corporate guy who's going to develop and not win.
Nope,
Correct.
you're right. Have to win.
You're right on that.
Win.
But
So there's no way in hell the coalition is going to give Jersey the final say.
no, well, then you look at
Absolutely
well,
not.
you look at a team like Toronto, who had influence on Newfoundland. You have the Pittsburgh Penguins, who have influence on Wilkes-Barre and the Wheeling Nailers. You have those situations where the organization. I don't think this will happen with the Devils. I really don't.
Influence is one thing. Telling them that they have to hire somebody is an entirely different thing. And with that, we're going to take our first break. We are live at Glens Falls Brewfest at the Cool Insuring Arena. We'll be back with more right after this.
Brought to you by Clean It Out Containers and Junk Removal Service. Do you have a lot of junk or waste to remove from your home? Clean It Out Containers and Junk Removal offers compact and cost-effective dumpsters and other waste removal services, such as appliance removal and estate cleanouts. Based out of South Glens Falls, Clean It Out Containers is a family-owned and operated dumpster rental business that provides convenient roll-off dumpster services. Whether you have a garage full of junk, extra scrap metal to dispose of, or even organic waste like lawn debris and branches, they have you covered. Clean It Out Containers also features highly competitive rates and flexible rental times. You can easily select a service on their website and then pick a date or time that works for you. Call and book via phone. Brought to you by GA Bove Fuels. At GA Bove Fuels, they take pride in providing timely and reliable oil and propane delivery services. Whether you're located in the Lake George and Glens Falls regions of New York or as far away as the Bennington, Vermont area, we are able to serve you. They encourage you to contact them today and learn more about their propane and oil delivery services, as well as the other work they complete for you. Whether you need a minor furnace repair, complete AC installation, or routine HVAC system maintenance, GA Bove's fully trained and certified technicians will help you out. In addition to the heating and cooling work, they also supply premium diesel, gas blends, heating oil, wood pellets, and other fuel delivery options to properties across the entire Northern Capital Region. GA Bove Fuels. Give Mike Sullivan a call at 518-337-6599. By your Edward Jones financial advisor serving Glens Falls, Stephen Babson. Get the personal financial advice you need to achieve your goals. Whether you're planning for retirement, saving for college, for children or grandchildren, or just trying to protect the financial future of the ones you care for the most, Stephen Babson can work together with you to develop specific strategies to help you achieve your goals. Stephen Babson can also monitor your progress. Give Stephen Babson a call today at Edward Jones in Glens Falls at the corner of Bay and Washington. By Mullen Construction and Seamless Gutters. When you choose Mullen Construction and Seamless Gutters, you'll always have access to the area's lowest prices. As a family-owned and operated business for over a decade, you'll be treated like our neighbor. That means affordable prices and friendly, knowledgeable service every time. Get in touch today to find out more how they can help you improve your gutters and protect your roof for years to come. When you work with Mullen Construction and Seamless Gutters, you'll get a 10-year workmanship warranty on gutters, downspouts, and leak protection. If anything goes wrong with your work, it'll be covered.
Here at the Cool Insuring Arena, my home away from home. I'm here just about as much as I am at home. It seems like at times.
You got a key here, don't you, Dan?
I was told I should.
Yeah?
I was told I should have one. Great to have you on board week 28 and a half of Talkin' Smack. We are live at the Cool Insuring Arena for Glens Falls Brewfest. Kenny's out grabbing a brew right now, so he might develop a personality between here and the next break.
Oh, man.
I love it. I love
Hey,
it.
out of us all, he knows more about brewing than we do.
I literally don't know anything about brewing.
I know how to drink beer. I'm pretty good at that. I don't think that counts the same.
So I know that we've got some super chats to go through. So why don't we get on board with number one, super chat.
That would be Snacks chiming in. He says,
Hey!
"Hi, gang. On the train, riding around Disney."
Well.
Dude, I tell you what, man, he has sent more pictures than like people like influencers post on Instagram. He sent to us.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah.
The thing about you've known him we all known
Yeah.
you all
I
known
know
Snacks for
Snacks
so
a long
long.
time.
I mean, he's having the time of his life down there in Disney as he's there for
as he's telling us,
May the 4th weekend.
Yeah.
So he's there for May the 4th and Sit the 5th or 5th the 6th.
No, it's revenge. It's May the 4th be with you and Revenge of the 5th.
Okay, well, whatever it is. I was talking to his Princess Leia, and she wanted to be known as Yoda. So I called. You guys will like this one. So I called Snacks. I called him Jabba the Gut. I said Jabba the Gut is Princess Leia, and he's like, and then Judy said, "No, I'm definitely a Yoda." So hope you're having fun, Snacks. Have a good time, brother.
I'm picturing him with his earbuds on as he's walking around Disney right now.
Jesus, he's
really?
eating and drinking his way
Oh
through,
my
dude.
God, that's all he does.
I don't know how he does it.
I don't know.
I like to eat snacks.
It's Hank.
Otherwise known as Jabba the Gut. All right.
Did we get a count on how many oysters he ate last night?
What's that? Who's your dad? Oh, yeah. Hey! Little LaFar. There you go. See, and we're live right now, so good to have you, boy. Good to see you. We'll get you on sometime. Sometime you can come on. All right, we'll get a hold of you. All right, thanks, brother.
Nice to meet you.
Nice. There you go, Little LaFar.
There you go.
All right, so we got another one ready to go?
Yes.
Super chat.
Brian Engel chiming in. He says, we're locked in. Go Adirondack Thunder. Can't wait for October.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Brian, you were great a couple of weeks ago. I got to give you credit.
You watch all the shows, Ken.
Yes, I do.
And were you jealous that you weren't there for the food?
Yes and no, because I'm as picky eater as John is, so I probably would have
He's
eaten only
awful.
one.
You're worse than John. Nobody's worse than John.
I was going to say, don't get
Wait a
Coach
minute.
going
Whoa,
on how
whoa, whoa.
picky I am.
RJ,
Hey,
is
do
it worth
you
it,
eat a
John?
vegetable? You eat a vegetable?
What?
Do you eat any vegetables?
A couple.
Okay, it's more than John. Okay.
A couple.
Hey,
So
I
hold
will
on,
eat
hold
a
on.
green bean.
Let's go back to
If
the
it's
green
canned.
bean. We're talking about Kenny eating.
Yeah.
Kenny,
What?
you grow some of the greatest tomatoes in the world.
Yeah. I don't eat them raw.
You don't eat tomatoes, do you?
I don't eat them raw.
You don't eat them.
No,
You don't raw dog a tomato.
No, I cook them up and make sauce out of them.
You don't save the turtles.
No.
Well, he's just
By
popping
the
them out.
way, by the way, can I say this? I found out that Sully's not going to be here. Sully's in my hometown.
What?
Yeah.
Well, you said that Mike Sullivan, Sully,
He's at the Count Basie Theater.
yeah, in Red Bank, New Jersey.
Right.
My home, the childhood home is 4 miles from there.
Really?
Yes.
So
Do you want him to drive by, take some pictures?
No, I did.
See what it looks like these days?
No, I know what it looks like these days, and it's
I
a lot.
picture soft music playing in the background.
No,
for some
no,
reason.
no waxing
a little
toy.
air supply.
No.
Yes, perhaps.
Lost in love. Yeah, no. That house looks nothing.
We honestly have two airheads that are airtight.
I thought so. Yeah.
Johnny and Kenny are both air supply
Love me
freaks.
some Air Supply.
It's okay.
My mom had Air Supply's greatest hits on vinyl.
Oh, I thought you were going to say 8-track.
It was on vinyl. I wish I still had the record.
I've seen him twice in concert.
You've seen
Actually, 3 times. I've seen 3 times in concert.
3 times.
Wow.
Twice at the Garden State Arts Center, once at Proctor.
That's 3 times too many.
Did you try to serenade somebody?
No, 2 times.
How are you? Good
One
to
time,
see you.
One time too many.
Welcome to Talking Smack, the show about nothing. Okay.
No, actually, it was funny.
We're talking about Air Supply right now. Are you pro or con? Air Supply, the
yeah.
Australian band. They're what? They're very old. I'm not asking. I don't have no idea how old you are. I'm just saying that your parents might have listened to them. That's it. Yeah. So we're doing the show. People are walking by.
Yeah.
As they're doing this, we're having conversations.
Stevie
I was going to
VG.
say, Seth,
Stevie
can
and
we
Nikki
maybe
here.
set up a webcam to show them?
The crew that's around here. Good seeing you. All right. Do we got another super chat?
We do.
Super chat.
Joan Chenier says, Coach Mack will be missed.
He will. Joan, you're right.
Yep.
There's something about the familiarity. I can't even say it right
Easy
now.
for you to say.
With Mac being here, because there's a comfort level with somebody that knows. We were talking earlier today, and I was talking with Tom Landry here from the Feeder Canal Alliance. So I'm talking with Tom. There's a sensibility that comes from living in this area to understand people.
Mm-hmm.
And to have that when you're dealing with people in a public spot, like the head coach of the Adirondack Thunder, one of the highest profile positions, when you really think about it, here in the area, and you have that, he understood what makes people tick in this area, what they want, what they don't want. And bringing somebody else in that doesn't fully understand that coming in and doesn't grasp that, it's a real crapshoot. So that's why the 6 guys that contacted me yesterday that have connections to this area, I'm not going to say they make the most sense, but it makes sense to interview them as well, too.
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah.
Joan, thanks for the super chat.
That
Really
comes from your source. Says
Sources.
also Giraffe Gorilla says it's like telling your child to move out of the house since they're getting too old. Talking about the Dan McKinnon, Will McKinnon trade to Cleveland.
That whole thing there, when that went down, a lot of people were all, I can't believe he did that to his son. Listen, you've coached your kids.
Yep.
I've coached my brothers. I've coached family members. It's never easy.
No.
And then in the same sense that McKinnon's not the coach, but being a general manager and having your son work for you, and then knowing that you could get something back and actually help him out by getting him out of here.
Right.
Here's one for you, Dan.
Sure.
Do you remember when Yogi Berra was managing Dale with the
Yes.
Yankees? How bad that was?
Oh, yeah.
It was bad because
Yeah.
Dale was going through a lot of stuff personally at the time. So, when you look at
Yep.
Dale, hey, Terry, they need to get wristbands too. All right. So, what's that? Right now we're talking about stuff that happens right here in this arena. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about right now. We should have had a camera that was set up to see everybody else here.
Yeah.
That
That would be cool.
Yeah, we can still
we got that one there. So that's what we got there. So they're come by talking smack. So I think that McKinnon did the right thing by his son, but that's not going to be when your wife is there and she's going, so you traded Junior? Yeah, I traded Junior. The hell with that. I got something for him. Got a bag of pucks, and some other crap. So
that was the thing that got me, was just that it was a future considerations trade. It wasn't even like swap. We don't know what we got.
Well, you know what the future considerations trade will be, is it will probably be a situation where Cleveland's ECHL team or their AHL team will have a situation where a guy will be on an end of a regular season roster, like it has happened in the past. We will have 2.5 weeks to see if we can bring him to Glens Falls. If it doesn't happen, then that's it.
It doesn't have to even be a player.
No.
Yeah.
It could be a team meal. It could be, there's a lot of things. How are you? Dan Miner, nice to meet you. I know. Good to see you. My partner, we went and we saw George Lynch at the Strand Theater, and that was a freaking great show. That was an awesome, and I had a good time hanging out with you. I wish that we would have met. I wish I would have met you sooner. But yeah, we had a great time at the show. But it's one of those things. It's you look at that and that's where we are. I have no idea where we are right now.
More super chats.
Super chat.
Defiant Flatworm _882.
You got him on the screen?
It's not loading for reason. It's been 9 years, and
clue.
I still can't believe they gave up the Lake Erie Monsters name. It was so much cooler.
The Lake Erie Monsters,
They're not the Lake Erie Monsters anymore?
No.
They're the Cleveland Monsters.
So what happens is that's all that stuff, when you look at that stuff and knowing how that works, a lot of that stuff is because, Cleveland wanted to be known as Cleveland. So when you have people, like that are above you and they're supporting you, like the city of Cleveland and the county that Cleveland's in and stuff, they want something to be more specific and not generic in that sense there. Also, it could be something as simple as somebody coming in and buying the team and not owning the previous, did not own the Lake Erie Monsters. And I've seen that happen before. When all that stuff, you have to own that. There have been places and things before where they didn't own the team name, like say Adirondack, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And they didn't own that. Yes, they had a logo and they had whatever.
Wasn't there something around that with like the Ice Hawks at
Yes.
some point in time?
And that's why the Frostbite had to become the Frostbite and they couldn't stay the Ice Hawks.
It's no different than you take a look at the Las Vegas Golden Knights. Very similar to what happened with a college that's about 50 miles from here. Also, you take a look at Vince McMahon, the WWF, and the WWE. Very similar situation.
Yep.
We have one more
Super chat.
and this comes from Art Pouillet. He says, can we walk over to Neely's box and see if he's sleeping in there?
No, because when he left here, that last game that he was here, and he had that porn star mustache, which does not look good on an 80-something-year-old man. It wasn't going to happen. I am just telling you right now That mustache was terrible. I don't want to see Doug Neely until that mustache, that thing on his lip is gone. And he ended up going over to Budapest before the last game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so, and the thing about it is, I kid with Doug. When you look at guys that have poured their life into civic duty for the betterment of everybody here, you go and you look at that. Doug's one of those guys. I mean, Doug was the city rec department head for years. Doug did so much with the city rec and everything. Like when we have Pete Klutz here on the show coming up in June, you'll hear that about how things like working with Doug got the concerts in the park.
Yeah.
Got the Guess Who coming to Crandall Park. There's all so many things and so many wheels that happen, and Doug was all involved with that. You look at the beginning of the AYHA and all of that. That's Doug.
Right.
Doug had his hands in all that. Don't let him being the head guy in the middle there during the hockey games fool you. He's been right there with everything. So when they started up the Red Wings, it was just a natural thing to have him come in and be the man in the center box down there and taking care of stuff. So that's the Super Chat logo's up there. You can go and scan that up there. Get your questions in. We'll have more about the Cool Insuring Arena coming up later on during the show. We are live at Brewfest, Glens Falls Brewfest, a real big benefit for the Feeder Canal Alliance. This is their biggest fundraiser of the year. It does seem to be well attended, and we thank them for having us here. Big thanks to Andy Camp for getting us hooked up into this year and being here out and about and being part of all this here. So thanks to Andy. You got another Super Chat?
Super Chat.
Groggy Beard says, speaking of Pete MacArthur, will there be an Adirondack Hockey Hall of Fame this year coming up, and who would we put in it?
Well. I did come up with a list earlier this year.
You did?
I did. I came up with 4 or 5 people that and being on the Hall of Fame committee, being an Adirondack Hockey Hall of Famer, there's some things that are going on behind the scenes right now. What Jeff Mead wanted to do is to get caught up with everything for the Hall of Fame before we put another class in. So there was a problem. There was a problem with the making of the plaques. So believe this or not, what happened is the stone manufacturer that did all of the original plaques for the first 10, 12 years, they went out of business. So they couldn't find the stone to match the plaques that are up there. So finding somebody else that was workable is please, thank you. So to find people that it works for, they're doing that. Also, they brought in an architect. So that they can put the plaques on a wall that everybody will see, because the plaques are heavy. When you're talking the granite that they're using, the stone that they're using, it's heavy. And the wall that's right across from us, right behind the Section A sign, the Section A sign's there. The problem is that wall is not meant to hold that kind of weight. And there is a slight bow in that wall as we speak. So what they're doing is they're finding a place within the arena that, inside, that we can display the local hockey history. Because when you think of this building, first and foremost, what do you think of? Hockey. So that has to be taken care of. So that's what's going on. And being on the Hockey Hall of Fame committee, what's going to happen here is once they get that taken care of, we will meet again and we will talk about people that belong in the Hockey Hall of Fame. I'd be interested.
And Dan will finally get his plaque.
I will finally get my plaque.
That's the important thing.
I would be interested to hear on who you guys think should be in the Adirondack Hockey Hall of Fame. I'll start with you, John. Give me a name.
Well, Pete MacArthur, obviously.
That's a no-brainer.
Would be the obvious one. I mean, are we thinking Thunder?
No, you've just in Hockey Hall of Fame.
Oh boy. Jeez.
Yes.
I don't know. That is tough. I mean, Wardo, maybe Brian Ward.
Who?
Brian Ward.
That's a good name. It's a good name.
I mean, he had a couple of really good seasons here. I mean, it is tough for the Thunder, like we were talking about.
You're not going to
earlier.
find guys that are
Been here for years and years.
Tough.
So, you look at guys that were really productive while they were here. I mean, somebody in the future, obviously still playing. Patrick Grasso might be a guy that you would put into consideration. Again, he's still playing.
But right now, guys that you would put in right now, you're going to.
I'm going to say Wardo. Yeah, Brian Ward.
Ken Lucchese.
I'm going to go off the board with this one and not say someone who played professionally. But if you're saying this can be overall Adirondack Hockey Hall of Fame,
yeah.
In a couple of years when he retires, I'd give out Dean Williams.
Wow.
The head coach of the Queen. Dean was the first coach and only coach of.
They're killing me.
Of
Are they yours?
They're killing me. Yes.
Me?
No.
These girls that are over there shaking their
me.
asses in front of the
Yeah.
coach.
Oh, okay.
It's
I-
all meant for me.
We all know about what Don Miller meant to Glens Falls hockey. Dean Williams, who was the first coach and still is the coach at Queensbury High School. He built that program up, and they had some great runs with some great teams, and they could never get to the top and win a state championship. They've gone to semifinals many years in Utica, now out in Buffalo. I'll say Dean Williams in a couple of years. When Dean Williams is ready to retire and move on, Dean Williams, I'll throw his name out.
Good call. Jackie Tots, you got any ideas about
Yeah, I'm thinking. I'm kind of like John. I'm a little lost on this one here. Grasso was one I was thinking of.
Yeah.
A little bit. I mean, he was here how many years?
this? 4 years?
Like 4 years.
3
yeah.
years?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of more up-to-date ones here.
Might be more.
What's that?
Yeah.
All right, so let me go to you, Seth.
I would like to see somebody that my age down there in the Heritage Hall for the Adirondack Hockey Hall of Fame. To be honest with you,
I agree with
the last 4 or 5 years I've been, I don't think I've seen anyone under the age of 45 down there. And the only way you can do that is you bring somebody in from the Adirondack Phantoms. And when I was 9-10 years old, who really carried the Phantoms, it's Michael Layton. And I'll tell you what, they missed an opportunity to induct Michael Layton into the Adirondack Hockey Hall of Fame because he's in the AHL Hockey Hall of Fame. And if we're going to go kind of interesting as well, I don't think he's in, correct me if I'm wrong, but Trent Shackle should also be in the Adirondack Hockey Hall
I
of
love
Fame.
Trent. Trent was one of those guys when the Ice Hawks came to town that's, does he belong there? I don't know. 2 years. 3 years.
3 years.
3 years he
He
played?
played 3 years, 99, 2000, 2001, 2001, 2002.
Was it 3 years for Trent?
He
Jeez.
played 64 games his first year, 71 the next year, and then 54 his last pro year.
That's a good call.
He also had over 200 points in an Ice Hawks uniform.
All right, so I'm going to give you two. Two.
I have another one I thought of.
I got two. Two friends of mine. Once again, I've been at this a while, a few years. Two of them. Number 11, number 63.
Yeah.
Two
Yeah.
dudes. Number 63 belongs there now. Why? Local boy does fantastic. The first guy locally to be drafted in the National Hockey League. A guy that won a state championship that you called.
No, he was Sean.
Yeah.
Sean. What Sean did was he helped South Glens Falls beat Glens Falls.
Yes, that's right.
And we'll talk about that when we say
So let me go to the numbers. 63, Sean
Yes.
Weller. Number 11, Shane Harper. Those two dudes, they go through a lot. When you look at the hockey history here, they cut through and they check off a lot of boxes. Both are local guys, which I think is huge. The local people that have something to do with hockey, I think they get a little extra push. But when you're talking about Sean Weller, the first player ever to be drafted out of the area into the National Hockey League, that is huge. And I am just telling you,
Absolutely.
Sean Weller should be, when we get back together with the Hall of Fame committee, as soon as they get the architect and the plaques that we get caught up on, Sean Weller needs to be up on that wall now.
Yeah.
That's
it's funny. He was the one I was thinking of, but he only played here, a year and a half? It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter
But-
because the Hall of Fame is the Adirondack Hockey Hall of Fame. These are people that are from our area that have had impact.
Yep.
Whether they had the impact here or they had it outside. Sean Weller, first and foremost, he needs to be there.
Yep.
He is the best local product ever.
Oh yeah.
By far, the best. Had a great professional career, both here in the States and in Canada and overseas. He had a great career, and I think because he played over in Europe, he gets lost.
Yeah.
Because they out of sight, out of mind. But for people that are hockey nuts like we are and that know about something, the fact is what he meant to his teams in Europe was absolutely huge. Sean Weller needs to go out there. Shane Harper, a guy that started his pro career right here in Glens Falls with the Adirondack Phantoms. There's a lot about the Adirondack Phantoms that I will never even acknowledge. There were a lot of people that were on those teams that just weren't good people.
Right,
I'm not telling anybody anything out of school here. They were just not good people. Yep. A lot of the Phantoms believed that they got screwed, that they didn't belong in Glens Falls, the fact that they were here until they got their arena built in Lehigh Valley, that they were just upset that they were still stuck. They were stuck in Glens Falls. There was one player that said, I'm out here with a bunch of breeders. And that was what people on that team's attitude. But there were people on those teams, they were just not good people. Shane Harper was a great person back when he was a kid coming out. And Shane never lost that. Yes, Shane married a local girl, and Shane kept his roots here locally. When he came back to play here for the Adirondack Thunder, it was huge. Here's a guy that played in the National Hockey League. If he never set foot in an ACHL arena again and didn't play, and he came back from Europe and said, okay, here I am, I'm going to watch, nobody would have blamed him. But the fact is, he put everybody on his shoulders. Everything he did, he lifted people up. When he came down to shake hands, kiss babies, sign autographs, it's something I say all the time. When you're here with the organization and you're a member of this organization like I am, that's what you do. Shane Harper never once backed down, shaking a hand, signing an autograph, or kissing a baby. When you talk about pure class and pure skill, when you watched him on the ice, here was a guy that easily could have played at the next level. But you know what? He wanted to be home for his kids. Yeah. He wanted to be here. Shane Harper needs to be in the next hall. And that's my 2 cents.
And I will say, too, part of the reason why number 11 came back to play hockey in this barn is because he wanted his kids to see him play at the Cool Insuring Arena. And 312 games between the Phantoms organization and the Thunder organization for number 11. And also, not to mention, the Europe game, not for everybody.
Nope.
And the fact is...
Europe and in Russia as well.
Sean Weller and Shane Harper both had successful careers overseas, and they're also not afraid to tell you that the Europe game is not for everybody.
No, it's not. It's not. And those two guys, they definitely belong there. I agree 110% with the Michael Layton. Michael Layton belongs to be there. He needs to be there. When it came to people in the Phantoms era, and yes, I worked for that team, Michael Layton was as great of a player as he was a person. And it's one of those things. When you look at that era for the Phantoms, Michael Layton right there on the top. I saw Michael Layton do things and say things to his teammates because he was a pro, both on and off the ice, carried himself to a higher level than most of the other guys. There were times when Michael Layton would lay the law down with people, guys that he played with and shared the locker room with, that said, hey, and there are very few things from that Phantom era that belong in the Hockey Hall of Fame. One of them is Michael Layton. Another one is Shane Harper. And I believe that. Pete MacArthur belongs there. And I brought this up on your show. And I said this then, and it'll make a lot of people's heads go, what the hell's wrong with you, Miner? Another local product. Once again, it's the Adirondack Hockey Hall of Fame, Jack. Okay. And these are people that are local guys that do well. Another local guy that did great because he went to play in the AHL, became an executive in a bunch of NAHL teams. Ryan Bennett, once again, out of sight, out of mind. Yep. Ryan Bennett has had a career in hockey, both professionally and in the amateur world, since, 2004? And I really believe, here it is, as we're in 2025, 20 years, this guy has made a living being around and working hockey. Yeah. People forget about that. Right. And it's one of those things, it's a great story that there's more than one way to make your name in this business. Right. And I would love to see him to get some serious consideration. One of the things that happens on the Hall of Fame committee, and Seth knows this, and you guys know this. So what happens, Jack, is that I'm there on the committee with a bunch of guys. They're great people, but their knowledge of the last 30 years, 25 years at least, the last 25 years is nil. Right. They're old Red Wings guys. they really aren't familiar with everything that's happened and the players and the people that worked at everything. And then what it comes down to for me is that I have to convince them. And I get emotional. I'm not known to be quiet. So I will say my piece. I argued for Michael Layton the last time. And when I say I argued, I said, you guys don't know. You don't know because you weren't there. You haven't been in the arena. You don't understand what's going on with the teams. You're there from afar, and you're not part of it. It's tough. And I'm hoping that with the next, Dave Casey was great, trying to bring new people on to the Hall of Fame board and to do that. What we need is some new blood, people that are younger than me. And I'm not saying that I'm that sense old. I'm probably the only person that has connections from the Red Wings era, which in my sense, as far as Hall of Fame stuff goes, I'm done. I'm done. Exactly. I'm done with the Red Wings. Yep. I'm done with the Red Wings. And I'm done with that. We need to start moving on and then embracing. I mean, when you have to fight for Hugo Belanger, when you have to fight for Sylvain Cloutier, when you have to fight for Frank Littlejohn, those things there, it shows you what you don't know.
Right, no, exactly. Especially those three. I mean, they were the epitome of the franchise then. They were beloved. They put points,
James Henry's another one I had to fight for. James Henry.
That's crazy.
I mean, it's.
Well, and the thing you got to remember, and we've had this discussion a million times, is that the Red Wings haven't been here in now 26 years. The glory days of those cups and everything, the banners up there. Let's see, 1992. How long ago was that? That was 32 years ago. So you literally have generations. You have generations of families with kids that are here that have no idea about this.
Well,
they're
Seth
not
is one of those guys.
Right? Yeah, they're not even cutting their teeth on the Ice Hawks. They're cutting their teeth, on the Phantoms and all that. So to discount that era is just crazy.
Three things. One, there's a reason why those Red Wing banners are now across the press box, and that people see the Adirondack Thunder banners where the Red Wings banners were.
110%. Right. Jeff Mead, when he made that move, he knew that some people are going to be pissed off. He knew that there are going to be some dinosaurs. I can't believe you moved. No, they don't belong there. Let's remember what happened here.
Dude,
they left via fax.
Yep.
I love the Red Wings. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but things started.
But they were gone.
As soon as the dual affiliation with Tampa Bay, you knew
the handwriting was on the wall, brother.
You knew that was coming.
For people that don't remember the dual affiliation, remind us.
Well, at one point, I think, and this was in the mid '90s. The Red Wings had mortgaged their future with the trades and everything to win the Stanley Cups. And they got to the point where they needed players, and they went to a dual affiliation with the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah,
and that was a disaster.
It was just awful
because dual affiliations rarely work because you have one organization saying, "Oh, you're not playing my guys," and then you got the other organization saying, "Oh, you're not playing our guys." Wait a minute, you're supposed to be playing this guy, especially one who's the primary affiliate. They see Tampa Bay guys playing over Detroit guys, and you're like, Detroit's like, wait a minute, we're the primary tenant here. Why is this guy playing? It's just because he's the better player. But it doesn't matter. You're not helping him. And it didn't help that Detroit also, they made some terrible draft picks. Winning the Stanley Cup. I said that there was, we used to joke around that you could guarantee one thing about the Detroit Red Wings. They were going to be drafting some Russian defenseman in the first round. Jan Golubovsky. Let's see, who was the other one?
Maxim Kuznetsov.
Yeah, and then we brought in. Then who was the one we brought in from? Who he had a decent career.
Jesse Wallen.
Who's the other Swedish defenseman we brought in? He was the number one pick.
I know who you're talking about.
And he went on to he was traded. He was let go in the expansion drafts, and did pretty well. He had a consistent career there. But Anderson, his name was, or something like that, or is it?
I will go back to the Hockey Hall of Fame just to wrap this thing up. 2, I'd like to see somebody down there my age next year. That would be great. And 3, you're right. I grew up on the Adirondack Phantoms. The only reason why I know so much about the Red Wings and the Frostbite and the Ice Hawks is because of Dan Miner, John Pratt, and Kenny Wachese, and that's it. That's the only reason why I know. It's just interesting. We do have a few
Super Chats
to get to. This one comes from.
And thanks for joining us here on this special Saturday show.
This one comes from Flagster Bait. Hi, I'm a new listener of Talking Smack. Was introduced to your show last week from a friend. Was rewatching older episodes. Nice to see you at the Cool Insuring Arena. I see that you guys were talking about Scorch and the Adirondack Flames mascot. I saw the old article from the Post-Star. I was expecting a large wooden deck chair on fire. This is somehow worse.
That there, when
the
you
little
talk
dance, man, the little dance at the end.
Public relations nightmare 101.
Oh,
if you were to do a college course
on what not to do,
Scorch would be there, right there at the beginning of the class. For those that don't know,
do this.
At one time, downtown Glens Falls, a good chunk of it burned down. And then you go and you bring in Scorch, and you do something like that, and then you put a backstory to it that is just absolutely insulting to the history of downtown Glens Falls.
Did they film that right across the street?
Oh yeah,
I was walking down the street to get in the building. I looked across the street where Common Roots did their little thing. I'm saying that's where they filmed that god awful video where Scorch.
It was just awful.
Because remember the backstory was he was like the last ember of the great fire that burned down Glens Falls. Like, who thought of that? Like,
that is just so. And the thing about that was, so obviously they knew the backstory of downtown Glens Falls, and yet decided that this is what we're going to go with. That is so blanking stupid. I'm not going to go Sully on you. So blanking stupid. And I can remember when they told me that, I said, and I had many conversations before this went out, and working for that team as well. And I said, "You're not going out with that." And they go, "Yeah, we are." I said, "That is stupid." And they go, "Well, we know what we're doing. We're from out of town." And I go, "I don't care where the hell you're from.
Right.
This is just absolutely ludicrous." And yet they went with it. And the public backlash immediately. It wasn't out there 5 minutes.
And people said,
and it was.
And then if you remember the video, the video basically showed, a firefighter showing up. Then the firefighter was like laid on the ground. He might as well have the X's on his eyes. And stuff.
Well, I just want to say thank you for finding the show. The thing about this is when we started the show, 6 months ago, we really didn't know what to expect. The fact that, us guys, we're pals outside of whatever we're doing. We enjoy having you with us, be part of it. One of our friends is here today. We got to hang out with him beforehand, Dave Palmer. And Dave, and Kenny, you know this, he doesn't do anything like that. Dave doesn't do podcasts or any anything like that. And the fact that, we're able to bring people to you and have them be with us to do what we do. I mean, we're just around shooting the crap. I mean, that's basically.
I have to ask you, when I know you were talking with Dave before, just as I was coming in, did he get any response from his appearance from?
Oh
people?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We
were talking with Jackie.
Yeah.
He said, the thing about it is that he had his family. He had people that he knew, because when we promote what's coming up,
right?
I like to tag, like with somebody like a Dave. I will tag the Montreal Expos. I'll tag the Philadelphia Phillies, the Atlanta Braves, and the teams that he used to play with. And then those fans there that know him, like the Expos fans, the Expos haven't been around in how many years now?
21.
21. Yet their fan base is still rabid.
Yes.
So when we tag the Expos, the people that were in Canada and that were huge Expos fans, they tuned in. No, I'm not while I'm on the air. Thank you. So what happened is that those people reached out to Dave, which is just so cool, and it's what we've been able to do with Talkin' Smack, to reach out and bring in different people, like this week's show. We got a great show coming up on Tuesday night.
Well, we'll go through the whole lineup.
But we got a show coming up on Tuesday night, a buddy of ours. And when I say a buddy of ours, Joe Pizzulo is a guy that's been around. When you're talking local sports, here's a guy that, he did baseball, the professional baseball teams. He did professional hockey for the Adirondack Red Wings on cable.
Here's one for you. He was up at the Winter Olympics in 1980.
That is the coolest freaking thing right there. At
the Miracle on Ice game,
he was there. And
cool.
You got a lot of people that say they were there. There's not a chance that everybody that said they were there could fit into that building, okay?
No. Kind of like Woodstock.
But Pez was there. Joe Pizzulo on Tuesday. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm going to send him a text and see if he's got his ticket stub still. He must.
He was media for ABC.
So he still probably has his media passes.
That's cool.
So that's, we're able to bring some people to the show. And I mean, as we're booking out now, as you guys know, we're booking out now through July. And we have people coming back to us and say, we want to be on the show again. People that haven't been on the show and they're saying they want to be here. If there's somebody you want us to put on the show, let us know. Reach out to Seth. Reach out to me. Reach out to any of the guys. Because, we do the show for people to come and hang out with us and to be one of us. And that's exactly what we said to Palmer.
Yep.
The Dave Palmer. I said, that's what we want to do. I don't want this to be a thing where we're talking, balls and strikes with Dave Palmer, because who cares?
No,
Dave's a great guy.
Right.
He's a fun dude to be around. And I think for the most part, we've been able to do that with what the show is. And you, our viewers, I love hearing from you. It really has taken this to a whole other level, which when we started the show, we never expected. And I thank you for being part of it. And thank you for joining us here in the last week.
I think what's cool is also the
Kong
fact
is coming. RJ.
I think kind of the coolest thing too is a lot of the listeners that are around, especially with the Dave Palmer episode, it was more of, you could put a stopwatch on how much you actually talked about baseball. And that's the thing is, we all know about Dave Palmer's career. We know about everything
over with his no-hitter.
Right. And everything like that. But at the same time, it was just nice to hear his perspective on today's topics. And we do have another
Super chat.
So Patrick Maroon, this is from G_Gundy says, Patrick Maroon finally went on Barstool Sports podcast and revealed why he left the Adirondack Phantoms. There is a clip. Would you like to hear the clip
Can we
no?
put the clip on legally?
Play on?
We can play the audio. We can't play the clip.
So can you make sure that we can hear it as well too?
Yes, absolutely.
All right,
One second.
We're gonna play the
Dude,
clip.
I can't wait to hear this, because this is
an urban.
saga.
There's a lot of urban legend here. Ready to go?
Yep.
All right. That's good. That's, what?
Wow.
And that takes care of a lot, because if, the urban legend, let's go to the urban legend of what happened to Pat Maroon, that there was a fist fight, that Pat Maroon put the boots to Greg Gilbert, and the two of them went mano-a-mano, and they fought, and after they fought, he cut him from the team and said, don't ever come back. There have been so many rumors throughout the year. And you know what? The fact that Pat Maroon, who, in my dealings with Pat, were always great. I mean, he was one of the few Phantoms that was actually,
Decent,
was decent. But the fact that he knows that he was a punk, that when you're young and you don't know, you don't. And unfortunately for him, he didn't know, and by not knowing, he paid the price for it. And it's cool to hear him tell that story for the first time, because up until then, it was nothing.
Everybody, there's always a lot of conjecture, speculation, all that, but to actually hear it from Pat himself,
cool.
It's nice. Yeah,
that is cool. Thanks, Seth. Good pickup on that one.
I also think too, what's interesting with Pat Maroon is, he was one of those guys that also, he was home for 87 days
Hey, Brian, good
before he was traded with David Liberty to the Anaheim, for the Anaheim to the Anaheim Ducks for forward Stefan Legion. That was the trade at the time, and then Legion stuck around for 3 more years, and then
was a good pickup.
Then went to Columbus, and he was traded for Matthew Ford.
But the thing about this is, as we saw him, and it wasn't his first year playing pro, Pat Maroon as a pro, you could see the prototypical power forward of the National Hockey League. And you think about being stuck on the sidelines for 80-something days, sitting at home. You don't get that time back as a professional athlete when you're sitting out because you pissed off the organization. You don't get that 86 days back. And it took Pat some time to catch up with that, which, it's one of those things that he learned from and has become a beloved figure within the National Hockey League. You look at him now, he's respected. How many rings did that dude have?
Congratulations on his retirement, by the way.
Yeah, congratulations, Patrick.
He's got a ton of them.
Yeah, but he's got at least 3 Stanley Cup championships on those fingers. So obviously he learned from his mistakes, and he's one of those guys. Someone asked me, well, Dan, he's got 3 Stanley Cup championship rings. He should be in the Adirondack Hockey Hall of Fame. And you know what I say? No.
He's a 3-time Stanley Cup champion. St.
It's just
Louis
the same.
Blues, Tampa Bay Lightning, Minnesota Wild, or no. Blues and
Do you want one of the
Lightning
Blackhawks?
twice.
No,
Blues 2019, Lightning 2020 and 2021.
it's just the same argument that you would have for a guy like Adam Oates.
Right.
Adam Oates played here for roughly 35 games as a Red Wing and 20 games in the playoffs. No, he doesn't.
Well, and the fact that he, basically got kicked off the team for being, in his own words, a young
for being a punk.
jackass.
You can't.
There's no way we can put him in the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Actually, I guess you could kind of make the argument that he.
No.
Well, when you look at games played, this is going to surprise you. Maroon played 67 games in 2009-2010.
Yeah.
The following year, I guess.
What were his numbers?
It
doesn't matter about his numbers.
No,
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, sure it does.
Oh, no.
Well, I mean, because his numbers aren't going to be that good anyways, and it does. It should not matter. He could have put up.
If you want to put up a wall of shame, you put him up in the wall of shame for what he did.
Exactly.
I think that makes more sense to put him in the wall of fame.
Yes.
I mean, Jack, you were a coach on the college level, and when you have an issue with a player like that because they were disrespectful, that takes it to a whole different level, doesn't it?
Whole different level, absolutely.
I mean, and then, and ever in your college career, did you ever have to send somebody home? Or take them off the team and let them sit there because they did something detrimental to the team?
I had to take a girl off the team who I actually had a good relationship with, but she was very disrespectful to her teammates, and just because she knew me from the outside, she thought she could dog it during practice. And me and Snacks, we had to have a chat with her and tell her, guess what? This is college level. There's other girls working hard here.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
For folks that don't know, Jack and Snacks, they both were college coaches. They were college coaches, and they took care of that there. So it's one of those things that, you're disrespectful, and that's what's going to happen. So,
exactly what it was.
what's going on, brother? Good to see you. We'll have another guest coming up here real soon. Do we have any more super chats to get to?
That is it.
Okay.
Another thing that we kind of wanted to touch on in this building is we're here at the Cool Insuring Arena.
We'll wait till I want to hear.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
We'll wait for that.
You want to take a break?
You know what? What we're going to do right now is we're going to take a break. We're going to take another break.
Hey, how about we take a break?
Kenny, you good with a break?
I think we should take a break.
All right.
Let's take a break.
Okay, we'll take a break. We'll take it right now.
Break time.
By High Society in Hudson Falls, located at 345 Main Street in Hudson Falls. This dispensary offers cannabis enthusiasts a chance to indulge in the brand's premium products, including the highly sought-after Bubble Hash and Frosted Hash Ball. With an emphasis on quality and potency, Silly Nice continues to set standards for cannabis products to elevate the user's experience. For use only for adults 21 and over, keep out of reach of children and pets. In case of accidental ingestion or overconsumption, contact the Poison Center. Consume responsibly. By Alan B. Powers, CPA. The Allen-B Powers firm is one of the leading firms in the area. By combining our expertise and experience and the energy of our staff, each client receives close personal and professional attention. Their high standards, service, and specialized staff spell the difference between outstanding performance and the other firms. We make sure that every client is served by the expertise of the whole firm. Allen-B Powers firm is responsive. Companies who choose the firm rely on competent advice and fast, accurate personnel. They provide total financial services to individuals, large and small businesses, and other agencies too. Their high service quality and raving fan clients are the result of commitment to excellence. Allen-B Powers will answer all of your questions as they impact both your tax and financial situations. The Allen-B Powers Agency welcomes you to contact them anytime. And by Jim's Glass Service, 6 2nd Street in Queensbury. Jim's Glass Service, hey! Thanks for the break. Jim's Glass Service offers the best service for all your commercial and residential glass and window needs. A division of Fish's Majestic Enterprises. Jim's Glass Service is a trusted glass company located in Queensbury, specializing in both commercial and residential glass services. With their team of skilled professionals, they provide top-notch glass installations and repairs, ensuring customer satisfaction and quality craftsmanship. Jim's Glass Service, hey, thanks for the break. Brought to you by Old School Pest Control at oldschoolpestcontrol.com. John Herbley, the owner of Old School Pest Control, has over 20 years of experience in pest control, providing top-level pest control and putting your needs first. Do you have a pest problem? Old School Pest Control can handle any of your pest issues, walking you through the process to help you understand why Old School Pest Control does what they do. Old School Pest Control provides home and commercial pest control services. Whatever your pest problem is, whether it's big or small, Old School Pest Control has the knowledge to get your pest problems taken care of efficiently and in a timely manner. Give John Herbley a call now for your pest control problems at 518-724-6440 or online at oldschoolpest.com.
No, I tagged him. Like I've heard from a lot of people, but I have not heard from Tracy yet. The one thing I think I might have fucked up is I don't know if he was 100% bleeding from his nose. It might have been the towel design. So I stated that. I stated, all of a sudden people were like, you're accusing him of not being, everyone was very upset. I was probably the most thrilled that he was fine and he was joking about it after the fact. Like the fact that he was like laughing and saying, I'm 1-0 when I barf on the court. Like that made my day. I had all the pressure off me from the fucking Twitter goons.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to give Sully a run for his money when we get you up here. That's for sure. Yes. Well, Josh, I appreciate you taking the time tonight. And of course, did anyone save you the towel afterwards? You know, say, hey, Josh.
No, I'm going to do some. I have some inside people down there close to the court too. So I'm going to find that towel. I'm gonna see if it's a design or not.
So can we ask Josh one more question?
Sure, go ahead.
Where are you right now?
I'm in Brooklyn, baby. I live in Brooklyn. Oh, you got the subway behind me? You see the? Yeah, I live in Williamsburg. I just moved to Brooklyn like a month ago. I'm sorry, a year ago. Feels like a month.
Well, we know the Shadow likes live PD, so I wasn't sure.
Well, now you're a buddy of the Shadow, Seth Cooper's, right?
Yeah. Seth.
All right. So do you know he gets busy while watching live PD? Him and his fiance, they get it on while watching live PD.
Oh, I didn't hear this one.
And then when they're finished,
you heard that one?
No. No. Am I lying, guys?
No.
So
here's the best part.
So they get busy to live PD, and then when they're finished, he leaves her there, and he goes in his other room.
They sleep in separate bedrooms.
Perfect.
That's respectful.
Like a home or away game.
So I'm going down, and the U's of the world. With snow and ice all over their vehicle. So now they're going about 72, 73 miles an hour. And I'm watching, and I could see this person that's next to me with the snow and ice, and it's flying all over the friggin' place. So now I'm in full panic mode, because last thing I want to do is get a windshield crack, because this person's going to take off, and then I'm stuck with it, and then it goes on my insurance. So it's bullshit. So I'm watching this, and I'm saying, you know what? Next time I see Snacks with ice and snow in his car, I'm going to give him shit. And it's flipping me out. Now I'm feeling angst. Now I'm feeling sullied. I was going to give him a call as I'm driving, but I was too worried about hitting ice flying off this car. So I go and I pass this car to get around it. All right. So I speed up to get around it. So I'm not even near it. Next thing you know, this freaking car comes zooming past me again, puts its ass right in front of me, and now it's there again. And now the shit is flying all over. And I'm like, son of, I am ready, and I am not a road ranger. I'm not. You're the only one here at this table that still sells lotto tickets. Is there a time when you don't want to sell?
We don't sell lotto tickets.
We
do a quick draw and Powerball.
You can get you get lotto.
No, so like people come in with their tickets they've had in their pockets for 10 years.
Oh.
For whatever reason, our terminal doesn't run them. Wink, wink. But
Tony helped Lisa out the other day.
I'll do quick draw and I'll do Powerball and I'll do Take 5. Anything that we have, I can
Mega Millions.
I can do it for you. But if you come in with one of those things that has a zillion numbers on it and it's been in your pocket for 20ty years, it doesn't.
It's Cumberland Farms. It's not a casino. Christ almighty.
To go back, I had Keith passed away Friday morning early. So that whole crew came down. They are savages. Oh my God.
They like to gamble.
The quick draw totals. Oh my God. It was astronomical. And thank God Ann did a good
That's
one.
the thing that bugs me now that we're bringing that up.
What's that?
That grinds your gears?
I gotta wait for a beer so that
I don't make anyone wait for anything.
No, you got
that's next week.
What'd you say?
That's next week.
Yeah. And then over the weekend he's gonna go, I broke another rule.
But
Jen and I sat on the same side and it wasn't for a Thunder game.
I thought that was a good picture.
I don't want to do your dirty work.
I can't see it.
Oh, well, Steely Dan. Yes.
Yeah, but oh my God.
You know, for a long time I thought Steely Dan was one guy.
Yeah, you're not the only one.
I thought his name was Steely Dan.
Yeah.
We won't, and I know we have to be nice here. Does anyone know what a Steely Dan actually is?
Not a clue.
A Steely Dan is an apparatus.
Oh.
I do know what it is.
Wow. Hey. Wait, hold on. Lachazy knows?
Yeah, he does.
What are you doing up there in Chestertown?
I'm a Steely Dan fan. I had to look up what the band meant. So I like,
I'm a huge Steely Dan fan.
And we're back here live in the Cool Insuring Arena, my home away from home, and joining us here with his own dance team. Ladies and gentlemen, you can dance with RJ. We got, ladies and gentlemen, it's RJ Stockton. Hey, and you got some help. You got some talent in back here.
Yeah. There you go. Already cold.
Sully's going to be so. Can I say something? Sully's going to be so jealous.
Sully's going to see this. Go, what the hell did I go see Gene Simmons for?
Kenny's hometown.
Yeah, what the fuck is that about?
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, the Talkin Smack drinking game has officially started. Thanks for having Rude and RJ Stockdale.
Sully's not here?
No.
It's only taken an hour and 41 minutes for that.
Also, by the way, it's important to note as well that I can clip that and make sure that becomes a reel. So that's a reminder to myself to make sure. And you know that Sully's not going to be paying attention to us today. So on Tuesday we'll play the reel to kick it off, and we'll already get RJ Stockton. First of all, welcome to the Glens Brewfest.
Hey, RJ, here's the best part about it. Sully's in my hometown where I grew up seeing Gene Simmons. Now, is he going to be playing?
Gene Simmons is playing. It's one of the few shows he did cancel.
Wait a minute. You mean
Gene Simmons band? Gene's out doing a solo tour.
It's like him and Nick, or
it's him. It's him with a bunch of wannabes.
Oh, I thought he was going to go see the movie Runaway, and then Gene was going to come out and talk about it, or Fan of the Park with. No, we've all seen. Have you seen those? I'm guilty of this.
Tom Selleck was badass.
Right,
Runaway.
That was
Cynthia Rhodes was in that too.
I thought he'd.
I still hit it.
No, I thought he would go down. You know, they have these things where you go to see the movies, and then somebody comes out and talks about the movie. I did that once.
You did what?
I went to Proctor's Theater.
Who did you see?
I saw Back to the Future, and then Christopher Lloyd came out.
Christopher Lloyd, like
old Doc Brown.
Doc Brown, yeah.
And he talked about everything besides his career, besides just the movie.
Oh, so he talked about everything.
He did talk about taxi.
Oh, Cynthia Rhodes. All right, so here's RJ.
yeah.
Here we go, Mr. Music.
Bring it up.
What group was Cynthia Rhodes the lead female singer for?
Late 80s.
I know Kenny knows.
Yeah, because they had a hit, a minor hit.
They had one hit with her.
Yeah.
Wow. Is it Brittany Fox or some shit like that?
No. Kenny.
It was An Emotion.
Remember the song Obsession?
Yeah, my
So she came in
You're
at the end of the 80s.
Me.
Yeah, and she was the lead
The
vocalist.
song was called "Room to Move."
Whoa, K-Dog.
The original
Runaway.
Yeah, the
I would
original-
go to a movie thing about that with Tom Selleck and Cynthia Rhodes and Gene Simmons.
Wasn't Cynthia Rhodes in
you could get a
Dirty
reverse
Dancing?
Yeah, she was.
Yes, she was.
And she was also.
Hold on. Who was Kenny? Don't say it.
Oh, okay.
Who was Cynthia Rhodes married to for a long, long time? And she was his muse.
Richard Marx.
You son of a gun, you!
Wow.
Shadow.
I was going to say Dusty.
Yeah. Hey, wait a minute. Richard Marx did pretty good after the
I was going to
divorce.
say, so wait a minute. You're telling me this guy was married to Richard Marx was married to this chick, and he's now married to Daisy Fuentes?
Yes.
Daisy Fuentes. Let's give it to Daisy Fuentes.
Oh, there.
Yes.
Hey, hold on a
I
second.
think-
And who was the cutout that was in our bathroom at 128 Glen for the longest time?
Sarah Fawcett, I'm hoping.
Daisy Fuentes.
Oh.
She was a Coors Light chick.
Oh.
So we. I was trying to. You had your Coors Light chicks back here just a second ago.
No, but I didn't know Sully was out of town all day. So I said
Sully's in
Herb.
my hometown in Red Bank, New Jersey. I grew up like 4 minutes from the theater.
So,
Well,
Shows you
I
how
just
much
want to
he
get a
actually-
reverse mortgage from Tom Selleck right now.
a reverse mortgage. So there we go.
Yeah,
We're-
that makes sense.
Yeah,
Talking smack.
Sully's seeing Runaway, and Gene's going to talk about the movie.
So he's there. So Sully's not here today because he's watching Gene Simmons and his pelvic thrusting with his cod piece in front of his face. Him and Jen are enjoying that.
In Kenny's hometown.
And then, we know it's, and then you got Snacks.
He's in a small world or someplace.
He's in Walt Disney World, and he was telling us he was on the Small World After All
Is he
ride.
doing the
Wow. Imagine being in a boat with Snacks going through that.
Oh,
No, he's
right.
doing this wrong
He's-
jump. Well, did you say that with the churros, these
Yes.
lightsaber churros
Yeah.
on Tuesday night?
I got a parasol glasses for my birthday.
Happy birthday, Ashley.
Thank you.
Ashley's birthday here today.
Happy birthday.
Oh.
Without the kids, I love it. I know. Where's my man? Oh, jeez. I'm telling you, it's one of the things about being here on the floor of the Cool Insuring Arena, and you know a lot of people that are here.
The last time I was here, I was fucking blind.
Really?
Too.
So,
So
why
we-
were you blind?
Tony and Endo and me and Fiore came down. Tony bought tickets to wrestling.
Who was wrestling?
It was WWE, but at the time I was 35 years old. I don't care. So we
Sorry, Seth. Sorry.
So we know they sucked anyways. It's not like the Rock and Stone Cold are coming here.
Oh, so it was the B squad,
Yeah.
C squad.
Right. So Tony was so upset at us, and we had like second row seats. I gave them to the kids. I said go, and we sat
I
over.
remember.
Yeah, we sat over there with Pickles. And
Oh, pickles.
me and Fiore don't even remember how we got out of here. To be honest.
Yeah, well, we were sort of at a Kiss concert. You did the same thing. So.
I don't know. Right. I was going downhill that night. I know that.
There we go. Another one of your go-go dancers.
Yeah.
There you go. Don't you love being out there?
Well, you know.
No, with the go-go dancers.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Sully's going to be so jealous.
So I can't wait for that one.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
RJ Stockdale joining us. You know, one of the things that we were talking about, and I know you don't have a cell phone, so you're not part of the group chat. So, you know, as we're here on the floor of the arena,
It's pretty cool, right?
it's awesome. And we were thinking, I'm thinking, you know what? I want to hear what the guys, like top 5 things, their 5 top moments here at the Glens Falls Civic Center / Cool Insuring Arena. So I think all of us are, you know, we'll have different things and stuff. So I'm going to start with you, JP. Johnny, you wrote yours down, didn't you?
I sure did, because I've got the attention span and the memory of a gnat. So I knew I could think of them. I knew if I got here,
All right, so let's go to your number 1.
Like the first like top 5.
Yes.
Like okay, so my
Number
top,
5.
Okay, number 5. Okay, for me, my best hockey memory, because this is a personal list to me. It's got to be my very first hockey game coming here to the Cool Insuring Arena. I was a kid from Warrensburg. I was with a church group. It had to have been about like 88, 89. You know,
So when you think of going to church, who's the first person at this table you think of?
JP.
Brad.
I am probably the only one that actually does. But anyways,
You are.
He does. He
Yes.
is, probably.
But no, it was part of.
Still
I mean,
going to
they still, yeah. they still do those kind of nights. But
Yeah, we do.
I'd never been to the arena before. It was really cool. It's actually like a whole, like, it was like an overnight thing and all that. I just remember being part of the church group, and it was actually like a youth group. And I remember being there, and the pastor's daughters were there, and a fight was about to happen, and everybody's chanting, "Blood, blood, blood, blood." You know what I mean? I just remember the atmosphere. I was a kid from Warrensburg that my parents weren't into hockey.
That's what I just said.
What the hell is that?
Where is he?
Is that going on right now?
Yeah. Sully sent this to me.
So Jesus.
And he says, I just ran into
I'm not touching
Mrs. Roper Pub Crawl. There are about 700 of them in town right now.
Mrs.
Audley,
Mrs. Roper?
Yeah, Audley. What was her name?
Lindley.
Audra Lindley,
Yes.
your name was.
Audra Lindley.
I
So let's go back to Johnny's church group here.
I won't say what I think this photo is. Well,
She looks like Mrs. Roper.
I'll
So-
stay on Sully's good side.
So let's go and go back to your church group. So
Okay.
you're there the first time you're in a hockey game?
First time I was ever at a hockey game, and I'd never been in the arena. Like I said, it was one of those church nights. Like, it was packed. It was a sellout. I'd never experienced it before, and that's one of the things. Like, I remember as a kid thinking to myself, as I get older and I can go and do this, and that I'd like to be a part of it. So that for me, that's number 5.
Kenny.
Number 5. I'm going to say this. The only time I ever went to a WWE, WWF house show was because I was a big Roddy Piper fan. And he went to wrestle.
You love going around in your kilt.
Yes, I did. And I can play the bagpipes, too, if you ask me. No, I wanted to see. He wrestled against Mr. Perfect. He wrestled against Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig. So the only time I ever went to see the WWE, yes, in person, I went to. You were on vacation.
Oh.
And and the only time I went to see a WWE house show was just because I loved Roddy Piper. Roddy Piper versus Kurt Hennig.
RJ.
We had season tickets when I was a kid, so it's kind of. I can't believe my dad went for them. We were kind of spoiled. We used to be up in section U, 3 rows up. Calder Cup a couple times.
Dude, it sounds like you're in my seats right now. I'm in the
That's where
third
Johnny's
row.
seats are.
The funniest one ever, though, was the night that they did the reunion here. And it was Levy and Barry and those guys.
Oh, yeah.
Richard, I bet he was so drunk he fell down the fucking stairs. And he fell into his ex-wife. It was awesome. It was awesome. They're like, "Will you get him out of here, please?"
Oh my God.
I can remember Tony Atlas walking out of here to the song of Purple Rain. Someone chucked a freaking Heineken bottle at his head.
Are you Tony Atlas? You would do that? Oh, who would do that? Somebody idiotic. Not really smart. Not really smart. Jack, let me go to you. Number 5.
Number 5 for me. Number 5 for me would be back when I really enjoyed basketball.
Okay.
New York Knicks, Chicago Bulls.
Michael
Jordan was in that house.
Rogers worked here then.
Yeah.
So was that
1980? Was that 80?
That was his first year.
First year.
It was his rookie
First year.
season when the Bulls played here against the Knicks.
I do forget Jimmer's game too. That was cool.
That
was a good one.
BYU
But,
versus Vermont.
We're going to come back to you, so don't worry about it. All right, so let me go to you, Seth. Your top one. Or number 5.
Number 5,
Yes.
I want to say being able to see Willie Nelson on my birthday in 2008 here.
Whoa! Wow!
I remember that for some strange. I don't remember a lot from my my youth years, but I do remember that. I remember right where I was sitting and who I was with.
Wow. I'm going to go with my number 5, and you guys are going to look at me and go, what the hell's wrong? There's a guy that's standing across from me right now. His zipper is wide open. It's so friggin' distracting. I'm not going to tell him. This is so friggin' distracting.
Shit stain on his ass too.
His zipper is wide open.
Right there.
Okay, so my 1 through 5, you can put number 1 for each one of these. Number whatever, the one I'm going to go with right now. It was 1980.
Oh, I know.
So 1980.
We're doing super chats.
Hold on. Yeah, we're
Oh,
going to.
this is important.
Super chat.
$10. Go tell him.
It's the guy in the black right there.
Excuse me, sir. I think your zipper's undone. Your zipper's undone.
Your zipper's undone.
Wasn't me. Wasn't me.
Was it? Yes, it is. Oh.
It wasn't me. I I was just instructed.
It was right in my face. It's right there.
Can't take you guys anywhere.
So, Super Chat.
Tim Jackson says, "Good thing it wasn't Vita Blue."
All right. So, 1980, the Olympic torch is coming through here to go to Lake Placid.
Yeah, it was up by Burger King, right?
Yeah. So, the Olympic torch is coming through, and the Glens Falls Civic Center is having a big ceremony in honor of the torch being run through here. There are all sorts of people that are running in with the torch, and
So Mickey Luce.
was the guy that brought the torch into the Civic Center. So I'm here. I'm a freshman in high school at Whitehall Central. You know, I know it's hard to believe the lead singer of Chupacabra would actually be in chorus. So they have the Olympic chorus that's here. So I'm singing here. It's the first time I've ever performed at the Glens Falls Civic
Were
Center.
you an alto or a soprano?
Oh, I was a baritone, dude. So I'm sitting up, and I can tell you where I am. I'm sitting in section E, and I'm row 14. That's how close we were. And I'm here for that. And that moment when the torch went through the Civic Center, came in, and being part of all that,
That's cool.
it was huge. And I mean, then to go on, you go further, and then look what happened. I mean, being a hockey nut, right up the road, and the Miracle on Ice and all that. But that there from 1980, February 1980. Sitting up there and singing my ass off and being part of the Olympic chorus was just absolutely huge for me. And it's one of those things I could still
the singles.
everything. We went to Pizza Hut afterwards. Being kids from Whitehall, we didn't go places like that. Went to Pizza Hut up on Miller Hill afterwards. I still remember it like it was yesterday.
Breadsticks and salad bar was my favorite.
Yeah, I burnt my mouth on a pan pizza that day. So I remember that.
If you go to Pizza Hut now, it's so sad.
Oh, I don't want to do that.
Dude,
all right, John, you got another one?
Yeah, number 4. It's got to be the overtime game winner, Gunnar Hughes there against South Carolina.
Oh,
the place probably only about 3,200 in the building,
if
something
that.
like that, if that. And you would have thought, I mean, it was huge. We would have thought we'd have just won the cup. The place literally blew the roof off. The atmosphere was awesome. That's my number 4.
Kenny Lucchese.
I'm going to go with Jimmer Fredette. State championships.
Oof.
The Jimmermania, his senior year. Now, John and I have done a lot of great high school games, and we're going to mention a couple of those a little bit as we get closer to number 1. But Jimmer Fredette, that whole experience of him his senior year, and sadly, he lost the state championships to Peekskill that year. But the whole Jimmermania thing, seeing for the sectional championship, it was like following a rock star with him. And later on, we experienced that with Joe Girard III. So I'm going to say Jimmermania. Jimmer senior year and his run to the state championships, and sadly, they lost to Peekskill.
RJ.
First Kiss concert.
Oh, 1983 January, brother. Oh, my God. Woo. On a snowy night in January.
And you walked out of here, you can't hear it.
You couldn't hear a damn. I'm telling you what. And the stage would be right where we are. I mean, just over where the doors open up. That's where the stage was. That night there. Remember who opened up?
Was it Night Ranger?
Night Ranger. Don't tell me you love me. And I'm telling you what. It was. Yes, that was the end of the original makeup era. And Vinnie Vincent was on stage with them. They didn't announce that it was Vinnie because the Creatures of the Night album had come out. And they said Ace was on it.
Oh, yeah, it still had Ace's makeup.
It had Ace on the front.
But they had the tank on that tour.
They had the tank. The tank was freaking loud.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. So when they come out and the explosions came out, and being a kid like we were, being huge Kiss fans like we are, it was just an incredible show. And the snow that night, and it was that same night that Ace Frehley got into his fender bender in Pittsburgh and wrapped his DeLorean or whatever the hell it was around something.
Was that the inspiration for Rock Soldiers?
That's it right there. Good call. My God, RJ on top of it. Coach.
I've been to a lot of concerts here.
Yeah.
I used to work in the parking lot where Burger King is right now. So I used to get in a lot of these concerts for free. And a concert I went into here, I don't think there was 2,000 people here, but it was one of the best concerts I ever saw.
Really?
Blue Oyster Cult.
Ah.
Fantastic. The place was rocking.
What year would that be?
That's got to be 1982.
Yeah.
Right about there.
Yep. That's
Wasn't many people here.
No.
The place was rocking.
Oh.
I mean, there was a lot of concerts, obviously.
Shadow.
I would have to say probably when the Adirondack Flames played the Rockford Ice Hogs in 2014. I'll tell you why.
That sounds made
So
up.
I'm in the press box. I'm right next to Stan Bowman, who was the general manager of the Chicago Blackhawks at the time, and Mark Bernard, who is still the GM of the Rockford Ice Hogs now. And I have a Pure Leaf, and for some strange reason, I always loved taking off the labels of a drink. So I pour it in a nice cup, and he says to me, he goes, "Hey, are you drinking on the job?" And I said, "No, I have a Pure Leaf in my hand." He goes, "Well, aren't you close to drinking anyway?" And I go, "Yeah, I'm a freshman." He goes, "In college?" I said, "No, I'm a freshman in high school." He goes, "You're only 14?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And
he was very hairy for a 14-year-old.
At the time,
back then he was still watching Cops.
yeah, by himself.
Kenny, let's chase.
Boom.
It's a layup.
And he goes, "Really?" And well, I didn't really know this at the time. I guess media regulations and rules have changed, but I got my picture taken with Stan Bowman that night. And regardless of what you think of Stan Bowman now, he is probably one of the greatest general managers in NHL history. And he definitely led the Chicago Blackhawks all those years to those Stanley Cups. So it was pretty cool.
I'm going to go to back when Dan Miner was working for ABC Rock Radio as a stringer. And I'm here for Def Leppard. Def Leppard practice here at the Glens Civic Center / Cool Insuring, whatever you want to call it. And they were here for a week. So they're here for a week. I'm working for ABC because they want to know what the inside deal is. Because Rick Allen, it's his first tour without his arm. So he's playing here. They had done a show over, I believe they played Donington with their electronic drums, and they had some real issues with it. So they're here. I spent the week with Def Leppard, and it was different. It was cool. I mean, but being around those guys at that time, they really didn't know because they had spent all this money on Hysteria. And I mean, it's legendary how much money they spent.
What year did that come out? 88?
That was 86, 87, 88, somewhere around there. And so then what happens is that they're just, you could tell their assholes are puckering because they know that if this doesn't go over well, and this album doesn't sell, they're all bankrupt. They're all done for. And I spent the week with them. It was cool. The guys were all great to me. So comes the night of the show. Show's going on, and it was in the round, which means the stage was in the middle of the floor, and it stood probably about 9 to 10 feet tall. Underneath the stage is where everybody went when somebody was soloing or whatever like that. Underneath the stage, there were various forms of women in undress, and I mean a lot. So Phil Collin, guitarist for Def Leppard, goes to me, "Hey, help yourself to the bounty, matey." And I go to Phil, I go, "Phil, the good news is for you, you're out of town as soon as this concert's over. I'm still here after you leave. I'm not helping myself to any bounty." And it was just one of the great times. It was so much.
That's why I'm jealous of fucking musicians. So three.
Now, actually, we're up to 7 now. We included Maroon's 4.
Johnny, you got another one?
To that, for me personally, first time I ever sang the national anthem on the ice here, I believe it was for the Frostbite. And I've sung a bunch of different places and all that. That was the first time I ever sang, in front of, I think there's probably 2,000 people in the building.
Yeah.
But just standing on the ice by yourself with a microphone in your hand, it's I don't want to say it was an overwhelming experience, but it was the first time I remember actually, as I'm singing, remembering, telling myself in the back of my head, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. People give the anthem singers a hard time. I don't think they realize how nerve-wracking and how difficult it is to do that. And that was before the good sound system that we have now.
Yeah.
That was back in the day where you pretty much you could hear yourself because you could hear yourself. That was it.
You literally try to block everything else out because down here is the worst place to hear anything.
Sure, absolutely.
All right, Kenny.
I'm going to go with one of the two that I did with John. And I don't remember, was it 2014?
I don't remember the
Okay.
guy.
It was state championships, Argyle and Lake George. John called the Argyle game. I called the Lake George game. And it was the first time in state high school basketball history that two teams from the same league won state championships in 2 different divisions because Argyle was Class D and Lake George was Class C.
That was fun.
That was good. RJ, what do you got for me?
So back when Tony Atlas,
All right, Coach.
I'm going to go back to, I've been to both of them. I'm going to go back to the first one I went to, the Mike Tyson fight.
Oh my God, I was there.
Yeah.
Quick Tillis.
I was at both of them.
Marvis Frazier.
Quick Tillis was one because that one actually
That
went
went-
the full.
that's the first time you
Tillis
went-
kind of danced around a little
Your
bit.
fan club's going by.
That's the
My
first
fan
time I
club.
went the distance.
And I just remember coming with my father and my grandfather, and it was just a great day.
That was crazy.
Now a lot
Crazy
of people got to get beer from Marvis Frazier. Lasted 29 seconds.
That's all. Yeah.
Were you one of those?
I wasn't old enough, believe it or not.
Oh, okay. Seth.
I'm going to go with the last time that WWE was in this building.
Oh, you were working for them.
I was employed by them, and I was on the production team, and everyone made a big deal about it at the company at the time. And I remember correctly, I took 22 tickets for friends, family members, my grandma who was still alive, who they were able to bust out
I didn't get any tickets
of
that
the
way.
nursing home.
I did.
You were there.
I was.
I think you were there.
No, I don't think he was.
So
Big time again, Danny. Big time again.
either that or you were out of town because I remember offering.
Just
you.
give me a
I
hard
know.
time, man.
But
Sensitive.
that was like so cool, and that was probably one of the greatest moments probably of my career at that point because it was a hometown show where everybody knew everybody, and it was so cool because it's like everyone was there, everyone was watching me do my thing instead of actually watching the wrestling.
It's true. We didn't watch any of the wrestling. I was watching what he was doing. So.
And I think that was definitely on the list, and I have a picture still of everyone that was there by the ring, and then my parents took a photo and I in the ring, and that's framed in my dad's office, which is pretty cool.
I'm going to go hockey. I'm going to say the 85-86 Calder Cup Championship.
That was
And the night that they were, they say they were 5-6 deep on the rails. It was insane in here. It was before they actually kept track of how many tickets. If the fire marshal had known how many people were in here, they would have had to gone and evacuate a bunch of people. But it was an incredible night. I'm here with my brothers and my sisters and my girlfriend at the time, and it was an incredible place, and just the feeling that night, and it was hotter than hell.
Oh my God!
It was so hot in here that they had to stop the game, and guys would have to skate around because the humidity up from the ice was they couldn't.
Yep.
You couldn't see past the boards. You couldn't see the brothers, so they would go around and create a vortex.
Can I ask you a
do
question?
That. Sure.
Is Jeff Mead here?
You know what? He may have been here as a little fella.
Little fucking peckerhead.
Eight, including Maroons.
I want Coors Light.
All right, we'll work on that. All right, got another one for you, John?
Number
two.
So my second one, this was something that you and I did together. You guys talked about Jimmer when he played here, when he's draft. Remember that there was a big event where they had the
draft
basketball
party was here.
The draft party. There was kids playing basketball, and you and I kind of emceed it.
Yeah,
and we were here until Jimmer got drafted. I think he got drafted like at number 10 or whatever by Milwaukee.
It was something around there by Milwaukee.
Something like that. But that was that was a really cool experience.
That was cool. I forgot about that. Yeah. That was really cool. Kenny?
I'm going hockey, and I'm going with 1989, my first year up here. Adam Graves, double overtime winner, semifinals. Dumps one in on. Sorry, we lost him just recently. Mark Treasel Forest. Red Wings come back from 3-0 down to win, and because the finals were so messed up because of the surface and everything. But that Hershey series, Adam Graves scoring the game winner, double overtime, 64-01. There was more than 64-01 in that building that night for that game. That game 7. So there's number 2.
Favorite Red Wing ever? Adirondack Red Wing.
He's right up here. Glen Murkowski. I mean, Murk.
It's too easy because I know him.
I do too. And the thing about it is that it's not fair because I worked for the Red Wings as well, and there's so many. But Murk is, when you talk about guys, and you know this, you don't, Glenn. Polonich is yours.
Oh yeah.
Glen Murkowski to me was one of those guys. And we mentioned this on the show earlier about shaking hands, kissing babies, and signing autographs. Glenn is one of those guys, a hometown guy, that never turned anyone down.
He's a hell of a Tuesday.
He's just a great guy, and just you would never, by meeting Glen, you would never know that he, has a handful of Stanley Cup rings.
He brought the Stanley Cup into Sandy's.
Yeah,
we all drank out of it.
It's just awesome.
I remember the one time I got to meet when I first met Glen. He was on the first New Jersey Devils team.
Yep.
And I talked to him about what was it like. He goes, it was the arena was built beautiful, but people didn't know what to expect because we were coming from Colorado. He was in the Hartford organization at that point, and then he came over, and I just dropped some of the names, and he goes, "Are you sure?" He goes, "Are you sure you're a Rangers fan?" Like, I remember that first Devils team just as much as any other Rangers team.
Yeah. Coach, you got another one for me?
Yeah, it's funny. I could go back with all four of the Calder Cups, but I'm going to go with the second year in existence, the 80 one, and being a big.
You were just out of high school.
I was
at
just
that
out
point.
of high school at the time. I was a big Montreal Canadian fan. When I heard Pete Mahavlich was coming down here, I was like, "Whoa!"
People, the thing about Mahav, people don't understand what a national treasure he is to Canada.
Oh, him and his brother Frank, right?
And the thing is, Pete Mahavlich's story. Played in the what's it, the Canada Cup or
he was in
the World Cup or whatever.
No,
it was.
are you talking about the one with the Russia series,
Yes.
the Summit Series?
Summit Series.
Canada Russia Summit Series.
So
in 72.
the Summit Series, I don't know if any of us would have the balls to do this. He saw the head honcho from Team Canada being escorted out by a bunch of guys with machine guns. He jumps over the boards and tells these Russian troops, "Do not touch this man. He's with me. You're not going to." And the Canadian people hold him in an esteem that we cannot understand. And Mahav, and I know Pete well, great guy, but people do not appreciate everything he did for that there.
He was on my hockey when we were kids. You had the hockey, the big thing.
Yeah,
T. Mahavlich, Frank Mahavlich, they were both on it.
Yeah,
I think they both played for the Canadians back then.
Yeah, the rod hockey games.
Yeah.
You got another one for me, Seth?
Yeah, the rod hockey game they called it.
How I met, just to back up, how I met Pete Mahavlich
at his restaurant?
No,
I did.
No,
I did. Me and my dad did. It was awesome.
This was even better. I was 20 years old working for Barney Sullivan. Toys for Joy. I'm working there, and this is when the television came out, Atari, and Pete came in. He wanted to buy one, and I saw him right there, and I'm like, "Oh my God, it's Pete Mahavlich." It's like, "Hey, Pete," I probably thought it was just some weirdo or whatever, but very down to earth guy.
Great guy.
Very down to earth guy. But
it is pizza. He had the first wood-fired pizza in the area, by the way.
Oh, that was the best.
All right, Seth,
What happened to that business? I mean, I thought
it just it ran its course.
Right, it's the Lowe's now, right?
It's right.
No,
up-
it's not the Home Depot.
up there in that plaza.
Yep, I'm good.
You're good.
We're good.
I'm gonna say hanging out with the Who. I spent a week with the Who. That they played here in somewhat of an unofficial reunion thing. The show itself, I didn't like it because Pete Townsend played an acoustic guitar behind plexiglass, because his tinnitus and all that, it just affected the way he was. But spending the week with him and Roger Daltrey was incredible. And John Entwistle was the only reason why those guys got back together, because John Entwistle was penniless. He literally had no money left. Now he just didn't. He blew it. So they said, "We'll get back together. We'll get you on your feet." And the two of them, because they did that for their buddy, there was something about that, and spending a week with them and interviewing them through the week and all, it was really cool. And then John Entwistle may have been one of the most unappreciative people on the face of the earth for what these two guys did. That they didn't want to do this.
Yeah,
they didn't want. It was only like 6 years after they had got off the schneid for 6 years, and they didn't want to come back and do it, but they did it for him. And the sacrifice that the two of them made for him, and he was just so unappreciative of what these guys did for him. He couldn't relate to that. It was a huge eye opener, but it was a great time to spend with true rock and roll legends.
Oh, God.
Right on.
You got one more for me, Johnny?
I do. It's a big, huge Thunder moment. Final game of the 22-23 season, that one against Worcester, where
Oh, my
it was
God.
the win or tie in regulation, and you are in the playoffs. This place was nuts. I kind of went viral a little bit.
You sort of did.
In a couple of different places. So that I just remember. Again, I mentioned the Gunnar Hughes overtime winner. That was quiet compared to the empty net goal.
An empty net goal.
You know, so that was just that was a great moment. You know, with that many people in the
Stevie
building,
Van Gilbert.
that was my number one.
I know Stevie VG's here tonight.
There it is.
Ken, you got another one?
My number one is another high school basketball one, and that was in all the years I've done a lot of great stuff, but I rarely save the games. There are 2 games I've saved on my computer. One was Glens Falls' first state football championship with John. The second one, John was on the board for Joel Winkowski's game winner against in 2016. You were on the board there. You were watching it on TV and trying to sync up me with the call. To me, that was my best call of anything I've ever done because it just was the moment. He was the best player. He had broke Jimmer's Section 2 records earlier that year. 3-pointer. And we thought he had beaten the buzzer. They called the timeout with 1.7 seconds left. Everybody in the building did. Doug Kenyon, who was the Section 2 athletic committee, he was the guy who was in charge of the basketball thing. He said to me, he goes, Kenny, I didn't think they called the timeout either. I thought that he got it as they added us 1.7 seconds on it. But Joel Winkowski's game winner, my favorite call of any of the high school sports. I did lumberjack stuff, as much still of the Green Jackets. Joel Winkowski's, and I still have that on my computer to this day.
Jackie.
Well, number one is pretty easy for me, and I've been to probably 100 concerts here. And the one I always go back to is Fish, Queen.
Oh, really? Oh, best concert I've ever seen in this building.
Best ever.
Best concert
unbelievable.
ever.
It's undescribable. Best event I've ever been to.
That concert, I got a free ticket from that. A friend of mine, now you remember back in those days, 1980, 81, those tickets were $6.50, $7 a piece. I was a poor kid. I didn't have crap.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, his brother couldn't go, and he said, "You want the extra ticket?" I said, "Yeah." That concert's the best concert I've ever seen here. And I've been, the 3 of us are at a different age than the 2 of them. We got to see all that stuff through the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
And that was I agree with you. That was the best concert I literally have ever seen here.
The stuff they play is not easy to play live.
Oh, it was such a good show.
This place had some phenomenal acts.
Oh,
unbelievable.
Van Halen on their Fair
Van
Warning
Halen,
tour.
Ozzy, Maiden.
All of them, yeah.
You think they booked Ozzy here to play
Van
Easter
Halen
Sunday?
played here too, right?
Yeah.
38 Special, all of them, yeah.
Rush used
Billy
to
Joel,
practice here.
Rush was here. Yep. Grateful Dead.
Seth, you got one more for me?
No, I'm all set.
My next one is a 2-parter. One is seeing my son Sean graduate here from BOCES graduation. So they got the BOCES graduation here, and Sean was a really good student at BOCES, exceptional. So they're giving out all these dollars and scholarships and everything. Sean's claiming everything. I mean, when I say everything, he walked out of here with over $30,000 in scholarships.
Nice.
Nice.
And Sean, so the last one comes up, and it's a big one. And they say, and the winner of this scholarship, and he had won a bunch of them already. Please say it with me all together. Sean Babson. And I get goosebumps. I got goosebumps just thinking about it now. It's one of those moments that, as a parent, it was just huge.
Yep.
The other one, which is there's 1A and 1B, graduating from college. My class at Adirondack Community College was the first college to use the Glens Falls Civic Center to graduate. They had the ceremony here.
That's right. I got to go back on that. We've got to interrupt.
And it was the first one in 1985.
Yep.
Was the first. I was the first member of my family to go to college. I was the first one in my family to graduate from college. And that night, here on the floor, I was a king.
Yep.
And I remember that feeling as if it was just yesterday, because this building is, I work here however many nights. How many events? I've worked thousands of nights here in this building between basketball and hockey and all sorts of other things and concerts.
It's partying. It's like me at Sandy's.
It really is.
It's partying.
And this building means so much to me personally, but graduating from here and those people that told me that, A, you're making a mistake, you'll never amount to anything, that you're not college material, those people that night, I didn't raise a middle finger to anybody because that was their opinion.
Why would you?
To me, the sense of accomplishment that night is something that I still take with me 40 some odd years later. Yep. It's my 40th anniversary, out of ACC this year. And I feel like 40 years ago was just yesterday. And that is between Sean and myself graduating here on the floor, that there for me, just it still rings true and it hits really, really deep in my heart. There's so many other things I could have talked about, with the amount of times that we were here for concerts and the amount of times I was working here and, meeting Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Chocolate Thunder.
I had that one on there.
Walt Frazier.
Yeah, I had that one on there.
There's so many. The boxing matches, I got to sit ringside for Tyson's second fight. It was just so cool, and growing up here as a young, 19-year-old, being able to work next to pros that had, dozens and dozens of years out over me. It was really cool and very lucky, and we were lucky to have this building. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one more break.
Before we do that,
we're going to...
You want to get the super chat now because I have everything loaded.
Let's do it. Super chat. Super chat.
This super chat comes from G_GG and says, I don't know about the John Pratt viral moment. Can you share it with us? Sure.
You have the John Pratt viral moment?
I have the John Pratt
viral
moment.
Oh, boy. Oh, here we go. Oh, there he goes. All right, we got this. That's Mac behind the bench. And there's Horny. Dickie.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Oh,
Thank you.
That was. Remember when we were up in the press box together?
And the funny thing is, not the sad part. The funny thing is after the goal was scored, I go to Dan and we're all amped up, and I go, Flow Sports just tweeted about JP, and he goes, no way. And I showed it to him, and then Rob comes sprinting over to Dan and goes, JP made Flow. JP made Flow.
I still want to see because they've got to have it. Was how you doing the thunderclap, and at the end, usually they go from one person to another person. They had me on camera because I just started going, screaming the stupid cliches like, no, let's go, boys, the time is now, let's do it, we got this, and oh man, yeah. And then the camera just kept coming back to me, and at that point in time, man,
so many great moments, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
That is cool.
But that was my top moment. So
we're good.
We're good.
We're gonna
Actually, you know what, Seth? That was my class. Graduating class, 1979 was the first graduation in.
You graduated from here?
First one.
From South High?
79.
So
wow.
You guys used the
here.
GFCC.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that it went back that far.
Yeah, that's it. You were talking. You were the first. That was the first year ACC had it here.
1985.
Yeah, 1979. South 112.
Art Wexler, shake your hand.
No, actually, Art wasn't even a teacher back then. Actually,
Art Wexler.
Yeah.
Jeez, there's a sign.
There's a legendary voice.
I think he still does the graduations too.
He
That's
does.
great.
He actually did. I was coaching varsity girls basketball. He was doing.
He did the PA.
PA there. He was good. He did
All right, what we're going to do is we'll take another break. We'll be back with more from Talkin' Smack on the basement, right here on the floor of the CIA. We'll be back with more right after
Talkin' Smack is on the air, and it's brought to you by The Bullpen on Glen Street in downtown Glens Falls. The Bullpen, a favorite among locals, whether it's lunch, dinner, takeout, a night out, pregame, or postgame, The Bullpen is the place to go. The Bullpen's second floor contains Suite 216, the banquet room, perfect for hosting private functions for under 100 people. Chef Pam and a team offer a plethora of incredible food options for each guest. They offer a wide variety of menu options for everyone. Gluten-free and children's options are plentiful. Please let your server know if you have any allergy restrictions, and the Bullpen will be glad to accommodate you. The Bullpen on Glen Street, downtown Glens Falls. GNS Printing, providing solutions, not just printing, has been the place for printed products and competitive prices and unbeatable service in the Glens Falls, Queensbury, Lake George, South Glens Falls, Saratoga regions, and up and down the East Coast. Family owned and operated by Tim Cooper, GNS represents his two children. Gabby and Seth tells you everything you know that this is truly more than just a business. It's family. Celebrating its 24th year in the printing business, GNS Printing is your place for all your printing needs. Whether it's stationery products such as letterheads, envelopes, business cards, notepads, cut sheet form, marketing products such as brochures, presentation folders, postcards, newsletters, door hangers, posters, banners, trade show booths, rubber stamp ideal self-inking stamps, die plate dater stamps, handwood stamps, seal presses and embossers, continuous form carbonless forms, carbon interleave forms, single or multi-part forms, unit sets, handwritten forms, carbonless stud and edge glued, carbon interleaved, all sizes available, checks, laser checks, continuous checks, uniset checks, pegboard checks, 3-on-a-page checks, label stocking, custom labels, laser labels, mailing labels, direct thermal labels, thermal transfer labels, barcode labels, graphic art design, custom design logos, artwork, brochures, forms, whether you need a single one-time order of business cards or a complete company analysis of all your printed products, GNS Printing is here to help, offering the most customized, friendly, reliable service with competitive pricing you will find anywhere. Call GNS Printing today, 518-232-2465. The Adventure Family Fun Center, the ultimate place for your class trip, after prom party, family reunion, or social event of the year. The 1,000-foot outdoor go-kart track is the largest and most exciting in the area. Take a spin on the Le Mans indoor go-kart track. Get your friends together and face off in their multi-level laser tag arena. Buckle up and hop into an adrenaline-pumping round of bumper cars. Score the ultimate gaming experience in the arcade and test your target skills on our all-new airsoft range. Adventure Family Fun Center, offering several different adventure specials, including birthday party packages that come with your own party room. Your home to the best in family fun in the Lake George region. It's the Adventure Family Fun Center on Route 9 in Queensbury. Oscar Smokehouse on Raymond Lane in Warrensburg. Why don't you stop on by and see what they're smoking? Oscar Smokehouse has a great selection of smoked meats and cheeses. They carry a number of specialty items like their more than mustard, maple syrup, cheese spreads, beef jerky, and apparel. You'll also find a wide selection of meats including chicken, sausage, bacon, ham, plus their homemade stuffed burgers, salads, ribs, and steaks. Oscar Smokehouse on Raymond Lane in Warrensburg. Come on by and see what they're smoking.
This is Talkin' Smack week 28 and a half. Why is it 28 and a half? Well, because we did a show on Tuesday, which was week number 28, and we got a show coming up on Tuesday, which is week 29, which puts today right in the middle at week 28 and a half. Speaking of week 29, coming up on Tuesday night, live from the Bullpen, which is where we are normally every Tuesday night. Tuesday night, we got a great show lined up for you. An old friend of mine and many others. I grew up watching and listening to this guy. Yep. And the fact that he became really good friends of mine and we worked together, we won a couple of state broadcasters awards together. Joe Pizzulo will be joining us on the show on Tuesday night, and Joe's got a lot of great stories. Joe's a funny guy. If you know Joe, you know what I'm talking about. Funnier than hell. A great guy, a great career, but Joe Pizzulo joining us Tuesday night, Talkin' Smack, and I am looking forward to it. And the thing about this is, Joe not only a great friend of all of ours, Joe is Sully's godfather.
I know it forever. Yes.
Joe is Sully's godfather. I mean, imagine the weight that he feels with that. I mean,
I wonder what that was like at the christening.
I'm sure Sully pissed all over him.
Rosemary's Baby had a godfather.
Bring that right down into your face.
Rosemary's Baby had a godfather.
Oh, I'm sure. Oh, my God. But Pez is on with us, Joe Pizzulo, on Tuesday night on Talkin' Smack. So I'm looking forward to having Pez forever as well.
Joe, I never listened to Joe on the radio in high school.
Yeah, same here.
Back in the day, yeah. WBZA or
I know that he called my last Whitehall Granville football game.
WWSC?
No, he was WBZA. Yeah. So Joe worked at WBZA forever, and that was a daytime station back then. And they did, they would be going all over for, like the game of the week, whatever. And
he did my games.
And he was doing the games with Larry Farnell.
Larry Farnell.
Yep, the two of them would show up, and if there was a big game going on, the two of them were there. Yeah. And Joe's got and like you said earlier, Kenny, his stint is legendary with what happened up in Lake Placid.
I think he said he was behind Dryden and wasn't he behind Dryden and Al Michaels?
He was in the press box, because if you've ever been to Lake Placid, I mean, it wasn't a modern building then, and it still isn't a modern building there now, but working there and everything that happened, and there were so many issues. And Joe was a part of all of that, and the stories that go with that is really, really cool. He was there with Jim Barron. Jim Barron, old buddy of mine too, as well, to my first Boston radio. So Joe Pizzullo coming up on Tuesday night. Who's coming up the week after that, Seth Rowe?
We know who's coming up after that. We know his name.
Oh, are we talking about Vinnie Mark?
We certainly are.
Vinnie Mark is coming back.
A-game.
I'll tell you what. Was that fun? You're in for a great night, man.
Yeah, I listened to that show before. You're
in for a great night, Jack. And the thing about it is, working with Vinny, and the thing is, once he got warmed up to you idiots, once he got warmed up,
it's true.
He was on his A game, man.
Was,
and I'll tell you what, I've known Vinny for 20 plus years.
He wasn't sure. He wasn't sure our format.
And the thing is, when people come on the show, and we all know this, we talked to Dave Palmer about this. When people come on the show, they're not exactly sure. They're not exactly sure what to expect.
We protect them, though.
We don't. We're not there to talk about your resume. We're not to talk about who you work with, whatever. We just want you to hang out with us and shoot the crap.
Yeah, we'll get your life story in 10
We'll
minutes.
get
And then
What I enjoyed about listening to him is that it took a little while for him to get warmed up, and I wasn't on that show that night. But listening to him, when that show was with Vinny.
With Vinny.
At the end, I wanted more because he was just really getting into it.
Yeah.
So this would be a good one.
He was asking me. He said, so who does what? I said, I said, we'll protect you. I said, just be yourself.
Yeah, he was a good listen.
We've had a lot of great guests on the show, and Vinny right there ranks my. So Vinny actually contacted us to be back on the show, didn't he, Seth?
He did, and what's funny is he was like one of our first guests that we booked in May, which is pretty cool. And then things just started snowballing from there. So after Vinnie Mark, a guy that covers pretty much now all of the Post-Star Sports and the Adirondack Thunder, Jake Johnson, one of my good friends, and has a very interesting story. He also worked in the Federal Hockey League as well for the Elmira Mammoth. Which are no longer existent anymore. So
but it's cool.
Gonna be a fun night.
He'll be our youngest guest ever.
Oh wow, okay.
Oh, look at this. RJ and the RJettes coming in here tonight.
Yeah, it's Biscuit's wife.
I know who she is. She went to school with my kids.
Who did go to school with your kids?
I knew her back when she was not legal. So we got Jake coming up. Who else coming up after Jake?
We know him. We know him.
Jeff Hamill. There's two M's.
Yes. I have the other guy.
You have the other guy. But Jeff Hamill, who does a comedy series, a monthly comedy series. And he's Coach Hamill's son. Yeah. So Jeff is doing a comedy series once a month at the Lawrence Street Tavern, which Dan took a chance and said, okay, well, I'll close for a night and let you take over.
It works over pretty good.
It works really well. It really works well.
So he's Tony's son?
Who's
brother?
It's
brother.
Tony Hamill, you said?
So what the thing is that he's a comedian. Jeff is by trade, and he did that in Boston, and then put on shows and stuff. And John and I have been going to all the shows, and Seth joined us, and the coach, maybe if he remembers next time. You poached the last time, didn't you, brother?
No comment.
All right. Sully's still looking for his money. But he puts on a monthly comedy series, bringing comedians, and I love comedy. I don't care where it is, who it is. I always have a good time and always a lot of great laughs, and it's a great night at the Lawrence Street Tavern, and Jeff's going to come on, and it'll be cool working with another comedian as well, too.
No, he said he's coming on.
Yeah, we've got him on. We got him on.
May 24th, I believe.
May 27th. Who's up after that? All right, so let's see.
That's June.
June the 3rd. My man, Mike Romeo. If there's not a band that's busier in the Tri-Counties than Mike Romeo, I don't know who it is.
I thought he was going to be here today.
He was supposed to be, but his kids had stuff going on today, too. So once
he's dead.
So that Mike is one of those guys, I've known Mike since he was a kid, because I've been working around the Romeo family since 1987 through Carriage Traders, and knowing Mike, as a kid and seeing where he is now and everything that they're doing with Romeo, the Romeo Auto Group. Mike's a great guy, and he says, so can I swear on the podcast? And I said, yes. He says, can I have some drinks while I'm there? I said, yes. He says, sign me up. I'm in. Kids are not. I don't have the kids on Tuesday night. So Mike's going to join us, and that's going to be a night. That's good. We're just going to cut up and we're going to have a great night.
They tell me he's a workaholic.
Oh, my God.
Like me.
Yeah.
So when I start working, I just have a fucking drink. That's a Rodney. That's
That's do we have any more graphics after it? Because then on June the 10th.
Hold on, I'm gonna get there.
You're getting there.
I'm getting
All
there.
right.
Hang on.
June the 10th is going to be.
Give me a. I want to put up the graphic first.
You want to put up the graphic?
Yeah, so keep talking about Mike Romeo for a hot minute.
Oh, so Mike Romeo, I was here with his Aunt Lisa here today, and Lisa used to be on the air with me on a regular basis on WCKM because she would do the hot deals of the day. So then, she was the one that got things going for the hot deals of the day long before Mike would come on for Romeo Toyota. And that guy right there, he has got so much going on right now. And I mean, it's amazing what's happened in the last few years with the Romeo Auto Group and the Romeos and what they're doing here. If people don't know what they do in Kingston, they're duplicating here in the Glens Falls area with multiple dealerships.
They're going Delabella in our ass.
And they really are, which is, it's great,
Yeah.
knowing these families and them growing up in the business and just jumping out and doing more. It really is incredible. And it's one of those things, as cool as it is and as big as they are, they're local.
Yeah.
They make it feel local too, which is very difficult to do once you start getting big like that. And what the Romeo family has done has still made it feel very, very local.
They'll never change.
No, and I don't think so either. And it's good to see them all here.
RJ, can you just fix your mic to make it a little closer?
A little closer to your face.
This is Sully shit that I'm wearing.
Thank you.
I know. No, don't worry about it. You're not going to hurt it. It might be.
I'm worried.
It might be an improvement. All right. So you let me know when you're ready with this other graphic. Because this other graphic, it's a show that I've heard from people that when we told them that they were coming, June the 10th, the icon, Pete Cloutier is going to be joining us.
Does he take the 11th off?
I told him to take the 11th off.
Okay.
But Pete Cloutier, he'll be the oldest guest we'll ever have on the show. I don't think we're ever going to have another 80-year-old on. Pete is an 80-year-old guy on June the 2nd. You would never know. You deal with him at the Bullpen when he comes in for gift cards.
Gift cards at 11:15.
Yeah, 11:15. We've all known Pete forever. Pete's your account executive.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the screen here. Is this a typo with a 7 o'clock that night?
No,
okay,
7
he's
o'clock.
in bed at 7 o'clock. So.
7 o'clock show.
Yeah.
I've already heard from people. Your boss, Jock Quintel. Jock already said, "I'm going to be there on June the 10th."
I was in the office when I go, yeah, and Pete Cloutier goes, I'm gonna be on the show. I'm gonna be on the show. And Jock goes, what show? He goes, Talkin' Smack. I'm gonna be on Talkin' Smack June the 10th. And Jock goes, make sure you take a Dayquil instead of a NyQuil.
I've worked with Pete in the mornings for 28 years, and I can't wait for him to get here being unplugged. This guy, they got bad written all over it. What were we thinking?
It's going to be a lot of fun.
But I can't wait. So a lot of people that have been on the show said we're going to show up that night when Pete's there because we want to get our. Mike Romeo has said that Romeo Auto Group will sponsor the Pete Cloutier Celebrity Roast.
Yeah.
So I'm
He's
not
brought
kidding.
that up to me before.
He wants to sponsor a celebrity roast before Pete hangs it all up, and then do something like here on the floor of the CIA, and then just be like one of the old Dean Martin celebrity roasts.
Are we just gonna shit all over him, or?
Oh yeah. Everybody gonna be drinking, everybody gonna be carrying on, and we're gonna. Kenny, you in for that?
Yeah.
All right.
And people think that you make fun of him on the radio. What is this going to be like?
So the thing about that is that is shtick.
Yes.
Pete is my best friend. I mean, the fact that we do what we do, and we've been doing it for 28 years, and I love that guy like family, better than family. It's just he's incredible, and I'm so glad that he's going to be part of what we're doing.
He's your Robin.
No, it's awesome. I can't, he gets it. He gets it. So that's coming up on June the 10th. That's going to be it. So there you go. That is what's coming up on Talkin' Smack here for the next 2 months. It seems like.
When's LaPointe coming back?
We'll get him back when we get back. It's it's one of these things right now.
He wants to be like a roaming guest. He'll come on whenever.
Like he's roaming.
I tell you what, I watched our episode. I watched it the next day.
Yeah.
He has me hurt, but
oh
my God.
Well, you guys don't go slow when you're out there on the golf
I had
course.
20 on the course. On the course.
20 on the course.
I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
And he ain't no different than me.
Yeah. That was. The thing is we passed the 6-month bridge a couple of weeks ago, and you think about the guests we've had on and the people that are reaching out to us now that also want to be guests, it's pretty cool. And once again, if you want to be a guest on Talkin' Smack, you got to go through our producer, Seth Cooper.
Wrong way.
You're that way.
Seth Cooper?
The other left Dan.
I was right when
the
I
other
said
right, Dan.
yeah.
Well, I will say that we have another announcement to make.
We do?
Wow. We do.
Uh-oh. Drum roll, please.
People have been asking for this for forever. And you keep saying to me, when are we bringing it back?
Someone bringing me a Coors Light?
When are we bringing it back? That's what people ask me. When are we bringing it back?
What back?
I'm here to tell you. Team RJ Stockdale versus Team Paulie Bracali will be happening Tuesday, August 26th.
Are you here, Johnny? Or are you on vacation that week?
I'm not sure.
It's your birthday week, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
That's his birthday day, isn't it?
No, it's the day after my birthday.
Oh.
I might not be here for that. No, actually, I think I'm here.
I want to look at these fucking questions.
9.
It's not going to happen.
What time does Sully give me a fucking break?
10.
and just so everybody knows,
what's going to happen?
So the way it's going to work is basically I'm going to hide every single person that was on Team RJ Stockdale and Team Paulie. Now, of course, the contestants, they may change depending on availability.
There's going to be some people that are going to change.
Yes, but I will say that I will be blocking all of the contestants, and you, the Talking Smack viewers, will be able to decide the answers to the questions.
Is that how it's going to work?
Yep, and before everybody knows, I've been working on my math. So we should be
And yes, Dan, I will be here for that.
Okay, good.
But yes, Talking Smack, August 26th, Tuesday night, hosted by Billy Floyd. I got to let him know, but we should be good to go.
Well, if he can't, I can.
Yes.
So, I mean, I've been known to host a thing or two before.
I was going to say, and if your math skills aren't feeling up to par, man, maybe we can get a calculator for you or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
I think I have a couple of months to prepare. So I'll be all right.
Okay.
I'll be all right.
We'll see
Real
what
quick,
happens.
2 plus 2.
4.
Okay.
Yay! RJ Stockdale,
ladies and gentlemen.
I got that one.
And 9 times 9 is 81.
Whoa!
Square roots.
Oh, man. Anything else might be a little bit over his pay grade.
10 times 9 is 90.
Whoa!
Homeboy knows
12 times 12 is 144.
Wow!
Have you been watching Schoolhouse Rock again?
The Junction Junk is going to come on.
Hey, they were here a couple weeks ago doing the great show they had up at the Wood Theater with the the adaptive
Rock, yeah.
all abilities.
All abilities, yeah.
All abilities. People were really the thing about it is
Billy Floyd's involved with that through Andy.
Through Andy. It's, we're really lucky to be part of all that stuff there as we're right in the middle of everything. So we got a lot coming up with Talkin' Smack, and we're looking to go on the road a few more times as well, too. So we'll let you know about that. Coming here and getting the opportunity. Thanks to Andy Camp. Andy was the one that got us in here. And also, we're this close to going online with the Talkin' Smack website. Hold on a second here. Let me get Andy a microphone. There you go, Andy. There's a microphone. I know. When are we going live with the website?
Live
next week.
Next week.
And what's the website domain?
Well, shit, I really got to get you that bio.
TalkinSmackPodcast.com.
TalkinSmackPodcast.com. I got to thank Andy for what he's done, because between the website and what he does for the photos for us on the show nights, it really has created a different awareness for us, and the professionalism and what you do to capture each week is unbelievable. I can't say thank you enough on behalf of all of us. Thank you, Andy. Appreciate it.
It's you guys are amazing. What you're bringing to the area and what you're doing. Bringing the guests on have been hysterical.
Oh, it's.
I love being a part of it, and thank you guys.
All right, thanks, brother. So there we go. Thanks, buddy. Andy Camp, ladies and gentlemen. Andy Camp.
I just also want to say this one thing too. When Dan says that we have some pretty big guests in the works and looking to take the show on the road, we're at I want to say, the 1 yard line for probably our biggest guest ever in Talking Smack history.
There's a couple, because we know some people that know people, and I haven't said anything to anybody, and I'm not going to say it live on the show. I'll tell you guys off the air, and we'll tell you then. But it's really cool how this has just exploded, and the fact is, you guys do a great job each and every week, and and Kenny coming on board and his second time on the show. And it's, we've been really fortunate with our guests. For the most part, have all been good. I mean, we've had a good time with everybody, and it's just, and we try to bring you something different every week. And
does this count as an episode?
This is 28 and a half. Yes, it does. 28 and a half.
28.5.
28.5.
Okay.
Okay, whatever. Half. I'll take either one. But the other thing is, I want to let everybody know, and Terry's over here on the other side. Terry's been out here selling gear. So we finally got Talkin' Smack merchandise, like you see the shirts, long sleeve, short sleeve, hoodies. We finally got stuff in for people to buy. So
that just cost me more money because everyone wants me to fucking buy it.
I know.
11. I know.
And then so if you're looking for something, and they're like, if you're coming to a Tuesday night show and you say, Dan, I need a double X long sleeve and I need a short sleeve XL or whatever, let us know. Let Seth know. Let Hank know. And we will bring it with us to the show. I don't want to have to carry everything else around, but we do have wearables for sale. And appreciate everybody for everything asking. And a big thanks for Terry and for being here today. It was awesome to have him. Thanks to Terry for stopping down.
Terry.
So it's part of what we got going on. We're also looking into getting hats, but that's another story another time. We got another Super Chat.
Billy Floyd says, count me in. Thank you big time for the invite for round 2.
Yeah.
All right. You work fast, Seth. Good job.
I love Billy.
Make sure to fix this.
I saw Billy today. He was over at the Little League field. Yep.
Oh, yep. I love Billy. And the thing about it is,
he did great last night.
I have people that come up to me and they say, Dan, there's no way that that's for real. I mean, Billy. Because Billy exudes positivity in a time when people can be negative Nancy's and they could be downers and look to take a dump on everything. I admire Billy for what he does like that. It's just like his grandfather, Ernie Anastas. Now, Ernie was the guy that handed me my first New York State Broadcasters Award. Have I won a few? More than what I have for one hand. Yes, I have a few. But
you did better than Ernie and I did.
Yeah. So and Ernie is one of those things. When he gave me my first State Broadcasters Award with Joe Pizzullo, he's just one of those guys that exudes positivity. Yeah. And for Billy,
who got you nominated for that?
You did.
Thank you.
Kenny nominated me. I didn't even know what was going on. Kenny put my name in and did everything. I didn't even know I was up.
I paid for it too. They said, "What?" He says, "Yeah, I thought it was good." So I just submitted it, and I didn't tell anybody.
I didn't know. So I get the notice in the mail that Joe Pizzullo and I won the New York State Broadcasters Award. First one for Joe, first one for me. I had no idea. I said, what the hell? How did this happen? Ken goes, I submitted your name. So thanks, brother.
I sent you the tape and everything and a lot of other stuff.
But, so Billy's a great guy, and I'm looking forward. He did a great job hosting the first one, man.
And what you see with Billy at the hockey games, he's like that
everywhere.
I'm over there walking by the snack bar.
I remember he's done with baseball. Yeah. It's too much sun.
I remember when he did the show, and he said he left the job. He was doing anchor news and stuff because he was upset because he wasn't getting enough positive stories to do.
That's tough. When I would imagine in that world there, if you're not, into negative stuff, I mean, it's got to be tough when you're a positive person, and it can drag you down.
Especially because he said it was during the pandemic, so he said it was really hard, but he said he couldn't.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to it. Billy's going to be hosting. That's going to be August 26th. So how does Seth? You're going to have to explain this.
Sure.
So when you put the questions out, you put them out on the Talkin' Smack page?
Yes, I do. And then what happens is we get a lot of responses for the questions. And what it is I will block every single person that's on Team RJ Stockdale and Team Pauly. That's how it always goes.
Make sure you block 9-Toe.
And yes, I blocked him the first time and then forgot to unblock him until about a week ago, I think.
All right, so what we're going to do, there we go. You're Talkin' Smack?
The vendors of this establishment should not be able to win the prizes that the patrons paid.
Okay, we have nothing to do with that.
Nothing to do with that.
us.
No, the YouTube watching. Someone's watching.
You know what? It's so appropriate that she's with RJ right now.
Really is.
Why? Because RJ is probably the easiest going guy there is.
I'm like Sunday morning, brother.
That's it. Yeah, have you met RJ?
I met him earlier.
All right, good. Well, it's nice to meet you too. Thanks for stopping by.
So, good thing it's not Vita Blue.
I'm sorry. I have nothing to do with it. I got to deal with it.
Jazz hands. Jazz hands. What's going?
Where was I?
Yeah.
We were talking about.
Oh, so let me.
question.
So what's going to
The
happen?
show was going to go off the rails eventually. We didn't know when it was going to happen.
I didn't realize there was going to be a chick.
Yeah, I know. All of a sudden it was Sully.
Well, we're here at Glens Falls Brewfest.
Yes.
Imagine a drunk woman coming over and just putting her lap right on RJ.
So Sully's jealous again, man. Sully's going to hear all this stuff. He goes, man, I missed it for Jesus.
He's hanging out with Mrs. Roper lookalikes instead.
There is another super chat.
Super chat.
Andrea Skio said, "Is Sully not here? Because Skio could pop out at any moment."
You know, I get Andrea. Nice to see you.
I want to have fun with that
hold on a
picture, by the
second.
way.
So you know what? I went to the equipment sale. I got a helmet. I got some gloves. Got some pads. I picked up a couple of sticks, a Brendan Les, and a Darian Skio stick. I got one of those. That thing there is so stiff. There's no giving that thing at all. I can't
How
wait.
much you paid for it?
I'm not telling you.
A lot more. Was it a lot more expensive than the ones we used to buy at the Red Wing sales?
Oh Jesus, yes.
Okay.
It's smaller than a bread box, less than a Steely Dan.
So what? I'm going to let everybody know this because I'm going to put Seth on this. All right.
Uh-oh.
So what we're going to do, see you Tuesday. Thanks. See you, Lisa. See you, Andy. So what we're going to do so that you can be part of the quiz part, if you're not a friend of Talkin' Smack already on Facebook, we're going to send out a bunch of friend requests. So with that there, you can keep track of what we do. But that also will give us a better base for people to use.
Oh, just put it on my account.
Yeah, go RJ Stockdale's. Hey! If you can find RJ Stockdale's.
I think I might have a good question. Sully was the victim this time. It might be RJ Stockdale this time.
Whoa!
A victim of circumstance?
So when you get the thing and you get the invite to like the Talkin' Smack page, please respond and say yes and accept our invite, because the more people that we have, the better the results are going to be for our Family Feud show coming up on August the 26th. So we will send that out there.
The record is 505 responses. That's how much we got last time.
You had 505 people respond?
Yeah.
So when you went through that, did you have to go through each one of those?
Yeah.
Your math sucks. I can't
my
imagine.
my wonderful fiance helped me with that one.
Thank
so
God.
That's the bad math is on me, not her.
Yes.
So
yeah. No, she didn't have anything to do with what she was in the contest.
Now I won't get killed during live PD tonight.
RJ Stockton!
Great night, everybody. Well, no.
What time the festivities start, Seth? When you get there, right?
Well, no. Here's the thing. They on Patrol Live is so popular that they have a pregame show before the actual show. I'm not joking.
He's pre-gaming.
I was gonna say something else.
So Kenny's like going, what are they doing?
No, I'm just like, I just looked up, they're showing the Kentucky Derby. I'm looking up one of the corners of the scoreboard, and it's like, the scoreboard's falling apart.
No, they'll put it back in. The thing about the Kentucky Derby, now see, Kenny, you're a big horse racing guy.
Yeah.
So the Derby.
What time is it right now?
It's 6:50. It's going to post time in 7 minutes.
So the deal is that I read somewhere today that every horse, they got like 20 horses in
19
in the Derby today.
Yeah.
Everyone can trace their lineage back to Secretariat.
Really?
Every horse that's out there.
That's the one horse I have hanging in my.
Was Secretariat a man or a woman?
Oh, Ron Turcock would tell you he's a man.
What a man! Listen, I'll tell you what. With 20 babies out there,
They didn't call him Big Red for nothing.
They said his heart was
it's like twice the size.
Yes.
Well, there's a lot of size going out there because there's 19 horses all related to Secretariat.
All right, on three.
1, 2, 3. Super Chad.
Mandy Gobble Dawson says, someone called the Kentucky Derby, quote, Amish NASCAR. In my day, it hasn't been the same.
I tell you, on that muddy track today, it's a sloppy track. You might see it.
All right, so
it might be Talladega.
Didn't you win money for the Kentucky Derby? I believe
Lisa,
you did.
Lisa did. She won.
It was 20 freaking years ago.
Yeah.
No, it was last year, wasn't it, or 2 years ago?
No, a couple of years ago I did, and then it was taken away from me because there was a.
The one she won was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
There was a 50-1 shot named Giacomo.
Oh.
And she had $100 on it.
Yeah.
Giacomo. So, where was I going with this here?
Talking Smack next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday?
Joe Pizzullo.
Joe Pizzullo.
Joe Pizzullo on the show Tuesday night, and I'm really looking forward to it. the fact is that you guys have been joining us here on our Saturday edition. I really do take the pleasure of having you join us, whether you're joining us live or you're going to be watching on the talk back here. Once again, thanks to the folks here at the Glens Falls Brewfest for having the drunk women come over here and sit on RJ's lap. What's your girlfriend's name again?
Sam.
They didn't stay. They left.
She knows.
You can't help it. You're sittable.
She knows.
She is. A big thanks to Terry for over there at the merch table for hooking us up and taking his time out here on a Saturday afternoon. Coach, as always,
You got it.
love you, brother. Johnny Pratt,
Hey, yes, sir.
RJ Stockdale,
Let's go.
RJ Stockdale, Ken Lachese.
And yes, the emergency podcaster.
Yes,
I'm like the goalie they play. Where's number 96?
and of course, the Mr. Producer, Seth Cooper, always back there taking care of things. We will be back with you Tuesday night live from the Bullpen upstairs. Doors open upstairs at the Bullpen, 6 p.m. Show starts at 7. Joe Pizzulo on the show.
Fish sticks.
I think Pezzi likes fish sticks. There's not many.
Oh, really?
There's not many foods that's. I'll tell you what. You want to talk about somebody who knows how to eat? Yeah. Pezzi's a guy that knows how to put it away.
Oh, that track looks like
It looks
shit from a toilet.
Boy.
Yeah, it's. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's sloppy. They had 4 days worth of rain down there.
You know what? I know about horse racing? Nothing. Let me ask you one more question before we go, RJ. Mint juleps. Have you ever made one?
I had people come in. We were talking about this today. It was 9 years ago. They came in. I said, well, I don't have any mint sprigs. And I don't have any fucking syrup.
12.
So I said, so no, I'm not making it. And they're disgusting.
It's awful. I had one once. I went to a Kentucky Derby party.
But the people left. It's like, that's a deal breaker, really?
Oh, the whole thing is just have you ever had one, Jackie?
No.
Sethro?
No.
Kenny?
No.
You're Mr. Fancy.
I don't like mint.
And I not Johnny. I meant to ask you that. That was where I was going. I was
no, it's not. It's a no, and it's gross, and it's it's gross.
Poor Judy. Snacks is currently catching the end of the show and eating Chinese food for dinner at Epcot.
Hold on. Wow. He's at Epcot eating Chinese food.
Yeah.
Those poor Chinese.
Yeah.
Man, what did that cat ever do to deserve this?
How did they don't have spring rolls?
Last night, hold on a second. I know he's watching.
Okay.
So last night, Snacks went through at least 4 dozen oysters.
Oh.
So last night, Jabba the Gut is working on his Desiac. So his Princess Leia / Yoda, Judy, is there as he's got his Desiac on after 4 dozen oysters.
I've been there.
With the smell of that room afterwards, besides the Desiac, yeah, nobody can even talk about that. There's nothing to say.
I love how we're going to end up the show on Jabba the Gut and the Desiac smell in his hotel room right now.
That's the new word in the Merriam-Webster dictionary coming up. The word of the year.
It's Desiac. It's the ability
Desiac aroma
to get turned on by the Desiac aroma after ingesting at least 4 dozen oysters.
I'd rather get turned on by live PD than oysters. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, it's better than the other thing. I mean, eat broccoli salad and stuff. What about eating broccoli salad? Does Lisa let you? Do you have to stay in the same room?
I want to mention this.
What?
Who would have ever thought we could do 3 hours and it seemed like it just started?
Let's see what's setting off Sully this week. Being brought to you by
we were going to do that.
Star.
Oh, what's setting off Sully? Oh, he's hanging out where RJ has had young women come by and sit with him and sit on his lap.
Let me.
Hey, Seth.
I can't get that. I don't have enough ice.
Seth,
I don't have enough ice here.
Seth, me and Dan talked about this. We were going to do a segment called Kenny's Craw.
So what's under Kenny's Craw?
All right. First off, we want to bring, by the way, can I mention that is brought to you, by the way, by Beans Country Store. And we all know Jeff.
If Kenny's getting his Desiac on, we're all in trouble.
No.
Hell is frozen over.
No, I just want to mention the fact that you guys all know Jeff. Well, Jeff's wife, Jen, has been a friend of mine for years.
Oh, yeah.
So I got to mention Jennifer. So employing my
you know a female?
Yeah, more
Kenny Lachese! She's married, so she's
I know that, but I knew her before she was married to Jeff.
You knew her before she was married?
Yeah.
So she took either you or Jeff Bean and she decided.
Not that way. No, she's probably dating Jeff. Well, anyway, so I call this the Sully factor.
The Sully factor.
That you find things and you say, that's Sully. I'm watching, like one day I'm watching Andy Griffith's show. They are sitting.
No one has ever put Andy Griffith and Sully in the same.
But this would be a Sully thing. I am watching Andy and Helen sitting on the same side of the booth. I'm like, Sully is. Guess what? Andy, Opie, you're dead to Sully now because there's Andy and Helen sitting at the same side of the booth.
So let me ask you, what's under your crotch?
Okay.
Andy, you
No.
no.
So we all know this, and it is the pedestrian law that states you got to give them the right of way.
Oh,
so
somebody just puked right in front of me.
So one of the biggest.
Oh boy!
Between that and the fly opening, we've had a great show.
Oh Jesus! There's chunks. And there's chunks.
I'm trying to do Sully's bit here.
I think I don't know if I can continue.
Yeah.
So to finish the thing, so we all know about the busy intersections.
Yes.
Especially the busy intersections.
Cover yourself, RJ.
And that is the people who, in these busy intersections, I'm talking.
What is going
They just walked right through it.
And the fact that the guy just
Don't walk in it.
Don't walk in it.
So you're still what's under your craw, Eddie? So what's underneath my craw?
I can't. Okay,
Is this guy throwing out
between the guy with the open fly? I think. All right. So what?
So was I wrong with the open fly?
No.
Was I
we
wrong?
saw the guy. We saw.
I think the best part is he goes, "Why are you looking?" I go, "I wasn't the corporate."
It was right in my face,
dude. And then when he turns around, he looks down, he realizes, oh, he's right.
It's right there.
Yeah, okay.
It looks like
So,
pineapple.
All right. So here's one for you.
Oh, can he still go?
Well, you got to finish the bit here. So
watch out! Don't step in it.
So here's the thing. We all know the busy intersections and people with the pedestrian rules, which we understand. You know, they have a right of way. Well, at these busy intersections,
I'm not going that way there. I'm going back here.
Like the one that got me lately has been Aviation Road meets Quaker Road and Route 9 at Miller Hill.
Okay, we know where you are.
Multiple times. Now, the busy intersections, what do they have? They have these buttons.
Watch out, there's throw up right there.
They have these buttons.
Watch out! Watch out!
Here it comes!
Watch out!
All right. So where was I? Oh, I lost my train of thought here. Okay.
You're still in the intersection.
Okay,
There's puke out there.
So to finish the story, if I can, because we got guys walking around.
Oh my God, Cliff Notes, man.
Yeah,
Cliff Notes.
Okay, people, there are buttons there that allow you to go to stop traffic.
Sure.
I have seen multiple occasions.
Watch out for the puke! Oh! Stepping on cue!
Oh, Jesus! Oh!
On the Nike shoes!
Oh! God Almighty!
Carnage.
And I got to see it happen.
Hey, Dan,
live.
oh, the humanity.
Oh, the humanity!
Oh, we got flagged for the puke.
Did we really?
No.
Did we get
Got
flagged?
Yeah, no.
No, we didn't get flagged for
What does
puke,
that
did
mean?
we?
Yeah.
We
I don't
did?
know why.
What does that mean?
We'll be all right.
I
We'll be
saw
all right.
13 times a year.
How does one get on their show? You talk to our producer, Seth Cooper.
You can contact my agent.
She's home waiting for him, waiting for live PD to start.
No, she's at a party.
Oh, she's at a party? Oh, man, we've seen it all. Fly undone, puke on the floor.
And then people walking through.
It just
Sounds like a good time.
Kentucky Derby's coming up.
like I could care.
Sounds like a good time to wrap this up.
Yeah.
All right, this is Talkin' Smack. We'll be back with you Tuesday night from the Bullpen with Joe Pizzulo on behalf of all of us. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. We'll see you Tuesday night.